Budweiser Gardens in London, Ontario. This is NBL Canada basketball here on Knockstrom.tv, and it's a doozy. The 401 rivalry continues. It's the Windsor Express traveling to play against the London Lightning. And before we get off, let's start off on a high note and wishing all of you a happy new year, and may 2017 be as prosperous as it was in 2016. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Aaron Sanders alongside Justin Prince, and welcome to the Knockstrom postgame. And these two teams, I believe, Justin, are pretty even. We'll start off with Windsor coming out the gate after a tough win against the Orangeville A's this Friday, 95-94, at their building, the WFCU Center. But one thing to take out of it was all because of their defensive stops in the second half that helped them seal the deal.
Yeah, they were struggling like they were in their first game of the season down at the Athlete Institute on offense in the beginning and on defense. And they turned that around this time around just a couple days ago on December 30th to pull together a victory in a very thrilling finish there. Lots of defensive stops, including from Nick Evans as well.
Exactly, and Nick Evans, as most of you know, he has achieved double-doubles in both of the Express's games this season. He's a really versatile athlete, but not only he got double-doubles, but he got then some as well.
Yes, sir. He is currently, in fact, leading this team right now in points per game with 21, shooting 52.8% from the field, as well as with rebounds 11.5, and blocks with a game with 4 so far on this early season. He has shown he is the statistical leader for this Windsor team, and the question is, can they keep it up? They're leading in blocks per game as well after that home-and-home series against Orangeville with 7 blocks a game in the NBLC. The only stat they're currently leading on so far, but they're doing pretty good coming out of the gate, entering this game with London.
Absolutely. That's one key factor in their front court, but let's go to the back line and talk about Warren Ward for a second. He's second in scoring, if I'm not mistaken, but he did come from the London Lightning last year during that finals run, but he's really playing a great effort with his shooting display as well.
Yes, so far he has been doing pretty well for this team. Shooting percentage-wise, he is shooting at 38.7%. Sadly, total field goal percentage, pardon me. But at the same time, he's also producing points. 16 points per game coming out of that gate. So yes, he's been struggling a bit shooting-wise, but he's been putting it together still for good games offensively, point totals-wise, as well as with the assists. 7 total assists so far for the team, and 6.5 rebounds per game from Ward so far.
On the other hand, we switch over to London. They have identical records. They're both 1 win and 1 loss. Their last game was, of course, at Friday at Niagara. They gave them such a doing, 134-106. And we got to quickly go to one of their new acquisitions, Kyle Johnson, who scored 21 points and 7 rebounds right off the gate on his NBLC debut.
He was just, in fact, signed by this London Lightning squad a couple days ago in place of Kareem Canty, who has been officially cut from the London Lightning. But let me tell you, I was speaking with Commissioner David Magley and Morris Delcosta and so forth before tip-off, and he mentioned he's one of those players who would be better starting than off the bench. And that was just in his debut, 35 minutes coming in just into the London system and performing like that. The question, he's going to be pretty good coming into the season, that's for sure. We'll have to see how he plays in his second game of the year here in a London Lightning jersey here at Budweiser Gardens.
If he comes off from the bench, if he warms up that well, you could bet your bottom dollar he's going to be one of the fierce backcourt players in the NBLC. We'll quickly talk about Royce Wyatt. I mean, how has he been doing in his first 2 official games here?
Well, doing good so far as well. He's currently leading this team right now in rebounds with 11 per game right out of the gate. He has scored a total of 12.5 points per game, 11 in the first game, 14 in his second. He's progressively getting better. Yes, he's struggling a little bit on the free throw side, a combined 4 of 13 in his first 2 games. But that rebounding performance so far from White has been a big play for how they've been performing so far in that front court, or along with Julian Boyd as well.
Exactly. We all know Windsor could come out right out of the gate in the second half and outscore pretty much anybody. We've seen that Friday. And we all know London as well from how they've been playing. They come out right out of the gate in the first half. You mix those two together, we might have a competitive game. With that in mind, what do you think?
Well, with London, if they want to come away with the W in this one, they have to bring that high offensive tempo that they usually have, and they have to make sure Windsor is unable to stop it defensively if they want to win. If you're Windsor, meanwhile, you have to stop it, because Coach Julius is known for running the fast-paced offense to tire out that defensive end and tire out the opposing players to score baskets. It was shown like that with that 134 points scored in their last game.
That's right.
They have to keep that in wraps if you're Windsor, and if you're London, you have to try and tucker them out in this one, that's for sure.
Exactly. My tips, simple. You got to avoid those slow starts. Windsor, of course, they had that in their season opener at the Institute. They had the same thing, too, when they played at their home opener. So those slow starts are very important because it shows how much intensity you have bringing up to the court. You want to intimidate these guys. As for London, they got to work on their breakaways off the ball. If they could break away, look for a pick, and look for easy buckets, they'll go and it'll be slim pickings for them. And for both teams, you have to rebound and start off with the fast breaks. We've seen that rebounds start the transition game, and it goes really high for those two teams. So reboundings are a key factor for both Windsor and London.
I have to say so as well, and to add on to that as well, currently London's leading the league in offensive rebounds per game as well as total rebounds on defense at 24.5 and 42 respectively so far. If you're Windsor, you have to box that out, and if you're London, you have to box out Nick Evans in that entire front court so far today. Exactly.
Well, it's New Year's Day here in Canada. 2017 is finally upon us. We're officially a week into the NBLC season. Let's quickly talk about what has amazed us from pretty much all the leagues. If you had to pick one thing, what would it be, JP?
The one thing that has amazed me so far out of the team so far has been honestly how Niagara has kind of struggled record-wise out of the gate. They're currently 1-2 on the start of the season, and that is currently, I believe it is dead last actually in the Central Division so far. They've spent a lot of money and brought in a lot of new talent and veterans and stars from across the league. They haven't been meshing together yet, but the question is, will they come together by the time it gets to the important part, March and April, when it's going to come down to the wire for those 4 playoff spots?
I remember you said something about Bill Jones talking about that during Media Day, and that is very important too. Slow starts is one thing, but if you really want to make the playoffs, then that's another thing too. 5 teams are in every division, but only 4 will make it. One team will be the odd man out, and that's going to hurt them. One thing that surprised me is the Cape Breton Highlanders, how they've been playing. Even though they have yet to win a game, but they really produce close finishes, especially in their home opener a few nights ago at Center 200.
I feel like they're going to come away with their first win pretty soon at this point because, yes, they're 0-3 to start off the season, but they have been playing good so far for a new expansion franchise. I think they have a lot of potential this season being a new franchise. So the question is, can they close it out? Can they get that first win of the season and get some momentum going? Because they've been playing well. It's just they cannot seem to get the victories just yet.
Exactly. And there you have it, folks. We'll see you at the Knockstrom halftime. We got plenty of things to discuss it at the halftime. There's one other game, but that does not happen until later on. So John and Chris will have the call for you. We'll see you at the Knockstrom halftime, like we said. And I'll tell you this. If it's cold outside, if you want something warm, this 401 rivalry will heat you up. It's the Express taking on the London Lightning. Player introductions will be made by public address announcer Mike DeLuhy as we step aside for the national anthem. We'll be back in just a moment.
officials for today's game. Would you please welcome Mr. Chris Delaney, Mr. Mike Hardy, and Mr. Paul Carter. Lightning fans, this afternoon we would like to remember a long-time Lightning supporter and sponsor, Mr. Bill Shanks. Bill was a longtime friend of Lightning owner Vito Frigia for over 35 years. The two met on a basketball court when Vito was only 16 years old. Later in life, Bill was Vito's principal account auditor and was instrumental in helping to build Southside into what it is today. Bill was an avid golfer and lifelong basketball fan. At this time, we'd like to ask that everyone please rise as we honor a moment of silence for Mr. Bill Shanks. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we would ask that you please remain standing and remove your hats for the singing of the Canadian National Anthem to be performed by Ms. Isabella Wolder.
And welcome, basketball fans, to London, Ontario for this NBL basketball game on the first day of the new year, 2017. My name's John Van Houweling, and I'm commentating along with Chris Croucher. Between this, well, I'm going to call it a heavyweight battle, Chris, between the Windsor Express and the London Lightning.
Well, I don't think any NBLC fans need to be introduced to this rivalry. It is a key part of really the league as a whole because these two teams constantly battle every time they face each other, and it's kind of a clash of philosophies as well when you have these teams play each other. Bill Jones, of course, likes to play that half-court offense. They like to kind of slow the pace down to a crawl and try to beat you down low and make it a very tough physical game for you, whereas London, they love to get into the open court. They love to get most of their buckets in transition if they can and really move that ball quick. So we get kind of that clash of those two different play styles showing up here. And again, these two teams have known each other for a long time. Just about every playoff matchup in NBL Canada has had a London-Windsor series happen. And every time it's a battle. Of course, it's the battle of the 401. Exactly, and we've got another chapter here tonight.
Yes, and both systems are proven. We know that. London is two-time champion, as is Windsor. And for the first time last year, the Halifax out east were the first Eastern team to win in the 5-year history of the NBL, and this is the beginning of the 6th season. Both teams are 1-1. Both teams won their last game. Both teams won, or should I say, exacted revenge on their opponents that beat them the first game of the year. In London's case, they lost to Niagara by a point, and, well, I would say clobbered. Would that be a good word? The last game?
Well, they came back and won by more than just 1 point, beating the Niagara River Lions 134 to 106, and what was very much a revenge game for the Lightning.
And Windsor did the same thing with the Orangeville A's. Lost the first game and then won a squeaker in Windsor in their home opener. So their both records are 1-1. Currently we're doing player introductions and official tip-off at half for both teams. You can listen in for a minute. And
let's give it up for Jesse right here. All right, you ready, Jesse? When you're ready to throw it up in the air, you ready? Hold on, Leslie, you're making this a gimme here, buddy.
well, Leslie Prosper, gotta need to stand in, and the tip ends won easily by the London Lightning, but that's not the official one yet. That's coming up shortly. So interesting, we were talking our last telecast of the changeover in the NBL, particularly in team rosters. Interesting enough, London went to Game 7 of the finals last year, and they have 2 returning players so far that we've seen on the roster. Garrett Williamson and Ryan Anderson, I believe it is. And in case of the Windsor group, nobody is back from the whole team, complete turnover.
Now that doesn't mean there's 0 familiar faces, of course. You've got Quinnell Brown, who's a former NBL Canada MVP. He's going to be one of the starters here tonight. And then you've got a guy like Darren Duncan. He's not going to be playing tonight. He's still day-to-day with a knee injury, but he's another guy who's had a bunch of success, won a title here in Windsor. And they've got a guy like Nick Evans, who's played in Windsor before. And, of course, just about everyone in the league's familiar with him due to his time with the Storm out east. And he was even part of London last year alongside Warren Ward, who's also on Windsor and was on London last year. And just because there weren't enough ties between these two rosters, Clinton Springer-Williams, 2 years ago, a member of the London Lightning, is now playing for the Windsor Express as well. So it's one of those things where you don't really look at Windsor and go, oh, there's no returnees, it's going to be a big difference. But they're all very familiar with this league. They've all been a part of the Battle of the 401. And because of that, just because it's an all-new roster doesn't mean any of that bitterness has gone anywhere. You're still going to have 2 teams that aren't really big fans of each other facing off here.
Yes, that's so true. I do see a lot of players that are moving among the league, trying out different venues, working with different players. There is a lot of familiarity in the NBL between the players as well, along, of course, with the regular newcomers that come in every year, which we will try to learn their names as well. So it's always a challenge as broadcasters to put a face to a name, to a number, and we'll do our best tonight making the call. I'm sure we'll get more familiar as the season goes on, and we'll see what kind of shape each team has this year. Longtime head coach Bill Jones for Windsor has his style, and this is the second year for Kyle Julius, who did take his team to the final Game 7 last year.
And that's kind of interesting with Julius. We were mentioning the fact that there's no returnees on Windsor. Well, last year, London didn't have any returnees either, and they actually kind of, Windsor's offseason mirrors what the Lightning did last offseason, really closely, in fact. So it's kind of interesting to see Windsor take a page out of the London book for this year's team.
Okay, so it's getting ready for the first ball possession here. Teams are starting to come on the floor. We have the player introduction coming for the London Lightning first, and then we'll be ready for game time. So let's listen in to the London Lightning announcer for their player introductions. Okay, player introductions are done. Teams are huddling on the court, preparing their last preparations for what is Game 3 for each of them in the 2016-2017 NBL season. We're excited to bring you the first game of the new year here at the Budweiser Gardens. And somebody's got a good baseball arm on them.
Wow.
That orange ball made it all the way up here to our broadcast booth.
Souvenir
Up in the press box.
for some fans here. Good guy Brett Hedges, of course, throwing it into the crowd.
Okay, so let's have a look at the starting lineup for Windsor. You're looking for numbers and names, so that's 44 is Nick Evans. Number 10 is Ward. Number 15 is the Quinnell Brown that we talked about before, previous championships with Windsor. Also on the court is Jones. Have a look to see the last one. Winning tip-off is won by London and Patterson. So that's Junior Cadogan. London Lightning, their starting point guard. First shot for Ryan Anderson. He was hot last game in that comeback game against Niagara, or the second game, the rematch. He came alive that game. He hit that big three-pointer in the first game and nearly won it as well for London. Tough man-to-man defense by Junior Cadogan on Maurice Jones. We saw that in the first quarter last game, the great man-to-man defense. London jumped out to a great start against Niagara in their first game, home game of the season. And Niagara clawed their way back to end up with a one-point win in the end. Cadogan up top, guarded by Jones, swung over to Anderson. This is Royce White, which we'll talk about a lot tonight. Bit of a fumble there by Anderson, picked off by Quinnell Brown, sorry. This is Maurice Jones into Evans, big center in the post, unmistakable with his large frame, good footwork in between, shoots the ball out quick to point guard for Windsor. This is Quinnell Brown, back to Evans, swinging the ball. Good hands by Royce White there to deflect that ball. Long three-point attempt, big rebound by Evans, unable to hang it on, deflected by the London player, and there's a nice no-look pass to Junior Cadogan, and a great block by the smallest man on the court, Maurice Jones. Ball in the corner. Number 10, Ward, up top, looking for Nick Evans underneath. He's trying to post up Anderson. He's got a size differential. Big double team coming right away. That was Garrett Williamson coming from behind, tried to steal that ball but could not stay in bounds.
So far, a great start here for the London Lightning and the Windsor Express defensively. Of course, these two teams do like to battle, and we're seeing right now how difficult it is to get points on the inside.
Windsor with the ball up top. Maurice Jones directing traffic. Like you said, they like the half-court offense. So this is going to be a one-on-one. And again, Junior Cadogan needed to go straight up on that. He had Jones at his mercy, but overplayed it, fouled the man on the shot with the shot clock expiring.
It's a little unfortunate because you play 24 seconds of good defense, and then, you know, that was a foul that could have been avoided, and you bail him out by giving him 2 free throws right here.
He buries the first one for the first point of the game for Windsor. Two for two for Maurice Jones. White inbounds the ball. This is Garrett Williamson bringing the ball up. The mainstay in the London offense. One of the returning players we had talked about from last year. This is ball into Boyd. Nice cut by Anderson. Nice underhand fingertip roll. Great cut down the foul line. Great entry pass. Jones with the ball up top. Guarded by Cadogan. Cadogan, former national team member, as we well know. Tip ball by Cadogan. Boyd brings the ball up. Here comes Cadogan looking for Garrett Williamson, going straight up, and takes the contact and puts the finger roll in.
And that's one of the things Garrett Williamson is best at, is being able to draw that contact. And that time, Shantez Patterson, he just jumped towards Williamson a little too much. And Williamson, knowing he can go up and get that contact, maybe for the and one play, recognizes that, and he's going to go shoot one more free throw.
Garrettson is quick off his feet. Got that ball in a flash. He was up in the air. Well, first time substitution in here, Brandon Kearney. In for Jones, bringing the ball up. A little weave at the top of the key with Brown.
This is a really big lineup in here for Windsor.
Yeah, so just looking at that, a lot of mismatches all over the floor, really. Tough entry pass, well defended. And the ball goes out of bounds. Windsor turnover, London possession. No substitutions yet for London. Cadogan bringing the ball up. Kearney guarding him. Williamson gets bumped as he goes across by Kearney. Kearney lays it up and in. Too hard off the backboard for Brown. He reaches in, tries to steal the ball, but creates the foul. Anderson sticking with the ball, Ryan Anderson.
A little bit of sleepy play from both sides there.
Well, I saw Williamson get bumped as he came across. That could have been called a foul with player interference. We saw that last game a couple times. Some hard cuts by Williamson where the players are trying to stop him from going anywhere. Here's a double screen up top. Cadogan with the ball, swings it right to the top to Boyd. A little bit short that time. Nobody under the boards for London. Rebound for Ward. Ward up top, one-on-one with Cadogan. Looking to shoot it. Was Patterson, thinks the better of it. Cuts the key, swings it out to the corner, and that's Ward in the corner for a nice-looking three. Boom.
And that's what Warren Ward can do. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBLC's 6 years, and he can really rack up the points when he's on his game.
So Williamson and White playing a two-man game. White with the ball inside. This is a former first-round pick on the NBA, 16th round pick. Kicks it out to Julian Boyd in the second attempt. He buries it. 8-5 Lightning over the Express. That's Patterson with the ball up top, one-on-one with Boyd. Evans takes a jump shot from the top. That looked comfortable doing that. No hesitation.
That's one of the things Nick Evans has added since his very first year 4 years ago in the NBLC is he actually has that corner of the key jump shot.
White kicks it out to Cadogan for a long three. He had his feet set, but he didn't get his legs really under him that time. Well short. Looks like first substitution coming in for London shortly. This is Kearney bringing the ball up. Cadogan guarding him. It's Patterson setting the early screen. Looking for Cannell Brown is what they're looking for. Up top. Nice dribble penetration. Good defense, good help defense on London there. Covering on Ward. A little push off that time, I thought. Again on Anderson. Using it very physical and puts it in somehow after some physical contact by Ryan Anderson, which I thought was good defense, and he puts the ball in.
Warren Ward playing with a little bit of revenge in his mind against London Lightning here.
Julian Boyd with his third attempt. He's 2 for 3. Looking comfortable. Nice swing play to the top. No hesitation in that shot. And that is Kyle Julius' style, you said. They like to get the quick shot if they can, and they'll take the quick wide open one if it's there. Otherwise, they'll work it. Patterson up top. Here's Kearney coming up top for Patterson. Takes a long three. Unable to make it. And Anderson trying to push the ball ahead for himself. Unable to keep possession. Ward swings it into the corner, and he's out of bounds. His right foot was on the outside baseline. He could not bring it in time before he touched the ball. Kearney with the turnover.
Again, that happens a lot in this building. The court, the lines seem to stretch out and grab your heel when you're going for that three-point shot. Whether it's because of the thickness of the line, whether maybe it's slightly smaller, I'm not sure. But
well, there's a lot of space there in the corners. It is the shortest three-point shot in the two corners, but you can see there's not a lot of place to plant your feet. Okay, so Evans is on the floor now. Bring the ball up. This is White down below. Posting up one-on-one. Big body, he just loops it over. Patterson unable to hold his ground against the big man, Royce White. Easing his way back into basketball after a couple years' absence. Windsor up top. Bit of a push-up that time by Ward. That was great defense by, I'm going to call the London pest, Joel Friesen. I was very impressed with his defensive play last game. He was all over the floor, all over his man, always moving his feet. And that time, Ward he shook him, but it wasn't legal.
Well, I think the first time when Ward did a little bit of a push-off, Friesen, he sold it a bit, but he didn't exactly flop or anything. The second time, though, the first time got the refs watching, and when Ward went for that second push, it was pretty much a guaranteed foul at that point.
Inside out game here, and Boyd is feeling it. And Royce White keeps feeding him. They keep sloughing off on Boyd, and he's making them pay. 3 for 4 from the three-point line. Cannell Brown up top. over to Evans. Trying to go back door, but that was great defense by London that time. Holding foul as he's driving through the lane. I think that's going to be called on White, I believe. So we had one turnover, or one changeover on the London roster this week. Picked up Kyle Johnson, who came into London and replacing Canty, one of the guards. Played well in the first game. They were looking for a little more size, a little more shooting, I think, London were. And Kyle Johnson came through in the last game against Niagara in that rematch game.
Yeah, he had 21 points in that rematch, and then, of course, he's a familiar face. He's been with the Brampton A's back when they were called the Brampton A's in the 2013-14 season. He averaged roughly 13 points per game during that year, and he's a guy who's able to knock down those outside shots. And the way London likes to play, aside from Ryan Anderson, they didn't really have a lot of wing players who could make those three-pointers. So Johnson gives them that little bit of extra dimension that, you know, a guy like Garrett Williamson isn't really a three-point shooter. A guy like Frederick Edmond isn't really a three-point shooter. With Johnson, you can put him in and spell Ryan Anderson at that 2 and 3 spot.
So London up 16-9 here in the first quarter. 2 team fouls for the Lightning, 3 team fouls for the Windsor Express. On the 6th team foul in every quarter, the teams go to the line and shoot both free throws. We are playing under different rules here, international rules, so there are a couple changes in here. Even though they're not going by the international halves, they're playing quarters. One of the things we do notice, we're not used to it in North America. When the ball hits the rim, you can already go after it. And I still see in this league players not quite realizing that yet. But as more and more players are going back and forth, and we know a lot of players are doing second seasons overseas, either in Europe or in Asia. I think, was it Williamson that came back from Japan, I believe?
That was Logan Stutz of Niagara.
That's what it was.
Williamson,
that was the last game, yes.
Williamson that year, between his first year in London and his second, he spent a year in Greece, actually, playing some FIBA basketball there.
So a lot of the players are starting to become more and more familiar with it. As they're getting more exposure in the NBL, they're getting picked up by some of the European teams in their seasons as well. So Windsor at the line. Patterson unable to convert. This is the big guy bringing it up, just taking it to the hole, and great defense by Evans there, but a second putback by White. He looked very comfortable bringing the ball up through the midcourt. Windsor going bigs for bigs here. Ooh, that's a hard elbow thrown there by Evans. Missed White. But he's trying to do the fadeaway, unable to convert. Good defense, stayed with him, did White that time. This is Evans bringing the ball up. Boyd sitting top screen. Evan looking for a backdoor cut, unable to go. And this is the big guy shooting from up top. And he makes it, he feels it. What a big weapon that could be, an inside-outside game.
Well, just on those 2 possessions, you see how versatile a threat Royce White can be. He can beat you on the inside and outside. And don't forget about his passing game. It's special for a big man.
Patterson down underneath, guarded by Boyd. Canel Brown comes out to help him out. Going to do the jump shot in the fadeaway in the corner. He's got a great touch, but unable to make it that time. White picks up the rebound. He's in the middle of a lot of traffic. Great crossover and a step over and a beautiful layup. In the meantime, he had his head up the whole time looking to pass it. Nobody could catch up, so he said, I'm going to take it myself. Now that, I could see why the NBA would be interested.
Well, I mean, Royce White's a guy who filled 5 different stat categories and led his team in his last year at Iowa State. And, of course, that kind of versatility, we saw him just take over that game. And he's been shaking off the rust. He hadn't played in a while, and I think we're starting to see some of the true Royce White shine through here. Again, that's basically an NBL center that was just running end-to-end and making a tremendous solo effort. And then we even saw defensively, Nick Evans tried to go back at him, and Royce White was tough. He took an elbow. He played very difficult defense, forced the bad shot from Evans, and then converts on the other end of the floor. That's a difference maker right there.
Well, I think it's going to be a big learning curve for his teammmates as well, once they really understand what he's capable of, not only putting the ball on the floor, but his strength inside the post, and of course his exceptional passing ability, which we saw some of in the first game. And which we'll see, I'm sure, tonight again. But learning to play with a player like that, it takes a bit of time, a bit of familiarity to understand what he wants to do on the court, where he wants you to be. So, Lightning with a bit of a spurt, 23-9. Here halfway through, or 2/3 of the way through the first quarter, 4:38 remaining. Windsor's going to need to adjust. See, Evans is still on the court. I don't know if they have anybody else that can match up against Royce White. Lester Prosper possibly.
There's definitely going to need to be some sort of a change in terms of how they're going to defend the 4 and the 5, because Boyd and White have combined for 18 of the Lightning's 23 points.
So far, Windsor unable to match that. There's Patterson up top, looking, put underneath, quick, off the backboard, and a little bit of a body that time by Kyle Johnson. Cannell Brown had good position and quick reaction to the basket. Clock stops, and he's on the foul line. Now, you said, if I remember doing my homework on Cannell Brown, was he in the league last year?
I don't believe he was here last year. He won MVP in 2014-15, and that set him up for a rather nice contract.
So that was with Windsor, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it
where
was.
They won the championship. So they're welcoming him back with open arms. Wondering if he can bring some of his magic back to Windsor. Makes both of his foul shots. White quickly puts the ball in. And as you can see, it's going quickly to Boyd. That took 2 passes and a good follow-up by London. On the rebound, looks like a little too aggressive on the offensive board, but as you can see, the ball barely touched the floor that time. Within 2 or 3 seconds, the ball was at the rim. And we saw that in the Niagara game as well. And then Niagara adjusted in the second half. There's Kearney up top with Patterson still on the floor, has not been taken off yet. I see the big guy, Prosper, is in, Lester Prosper, so got 2 bigs in. And he's fighting and gets that rebound and forces it up with his left hand. Out-battled White that time underneath. Now, Prosper's been around for a while in the NBL as well, I think from the beginning. A step over, looked like a travel, 1 extra step that time by Frederick Edmond. Good positioning by the Windsor defender. Substitution in, big guy's going out, Royce White, big center for London Lightning. And Anthony Criswell in, played well. First game that we saw him here at the home game at London. Now he'll be tackled with working hard against Prosper, who's a big presence underneath. This is Ward again. Brandon Kearney into the corner. Unable to hang on to it was Patterson. Here comes Joel Friesen bringing the ball up. Or Criswell, sorry. No, that's Friesen, my mistake. This is Boyd in the corner, already hit 3 threes. This is Criswell up top. Ball fake by Frederick Edmond, and he makes the little jump shot. I don't think he was really looking for that shot, but he had to adjust and put it in. Kearney with the ball up top. Again looking for Brown. Top again for Ward. Joel Friesen guarding him this time. Now he gets by his man. A nice high layup and a bit of a reach in push on the hip, I thought, by Friesen caused that layup to be missed. Well, he did beat him off the dribble. We don't see that often with Friesen. He's a very good defender off his feet. A little bit of a mismatch in size there, maybe.
It definitely is interesting watching Warren Ward again. One of the most gifted shooters in NBLC. He's capable of going off for 30 on any given night. And he's facing off and having a nice little battle here with Joel Friesen. Friesen, of course, got him to take the push-off foul earlier in the first quarter, but it's kind of been a good game for Ward. He's now, aside from that miss, he's 2 of 3, and he's had himself a good game so far.
Some wholesale substitutions, which we seen in the first game here as well between Niagara and London. I think every player on both benches had, well, almost double-digit minutes, I think. Evans up top with the ball, swings again to Boyd. That time he just hangs on to it. He looked to shoot for it, but the defender came out quick, swings it back out to Criswell. Criswell trying to take the man one-on-one. That's against Prosper, up and over, and I think Prosper hung on to him just a little too long, reaching in. Spin around move by Anthony Criswell.
To the line for your Lightning, Anthony Criswell.
Criswell played well the first game that we saw him here in the London Lightning uniform. It's going to be interesting to see how all these players develop and their roles on coming off the bench or starting. Everybody seems quite interchangeable. Looks like London has a little more firepower, looks like, currently.
Well, it's the way both teams have traditionally built their rosters is having at least 10 guys who can give you 25 minutes on any given night. And that's, again, what they're looking to do this year. London, this game anyways, has been a little more starter heavy than we're a little used to seeing, although there's still plenty of time.
Fade away by Prosper, and good rebound coming in from the weak side was Edmonds. Driving hard to the hoop, dishes it off. Griswold gets blocked inside. Not sure what happened. I think that hit the score clock up top off of London's tip-off. So London really looking to force the pace, driving it inside. Sometimes it looks like not quite in control, but I think that is their philosophy. Let's push it inside as quick as we can with the dribble or the pass and see how the defense reacts. This is Kearney up top, looking for Springer Williams. Some screen off the backboard. That's definitely an undercut by Frederick Evans that time. Kearney beats him off the dribble, gets to the hoop, and the clock stops again. Fouls are starting to pile up here. It's the 5th team foul for London Lightning, 4 on the Windsor Express. Still with 2 minutes left in this quarter. 25-15, Lightning over the Express.
Well, players coming into the game here is Wally Ellenson. Bit interesting. His brother is a recent first-round draft pick of the Detroit Pistons, so must be nice for Wally and his brother Henry that they're just across the border from each other.
Yeah, sometimes it runs in the family, doesn't it? You see that over and over again over the years. At least my years, anyway. I'm not sure about yours, Chris.
Well, I mean, even in Kitchener-Waterloo, you've got the Tremeek and Tramar Sutherland combo there.
Right. Hey, London with the ball up top. That's a new addition, Kyle Johnson up top. Friesen taking a left-handed three, and he makes it with Springer Williams all draped all over him. Looks like a set play and a green light. This is Clinton Springer Williams up top. Tough defense by Friesen. Both of them are good defenders. Ball inside to number 22. Giroux. Offensive foul that time on Windsor. London doing a good job boxing out so far. Not very many second chances for the Windsor Express. Windsor really struggling to get their shots off. Junior Cadogan with the ball. He's back in the lineup, along with Kyle Johnson, Anthony Criswell. Friesen coming around the side. Hip got stuck out. He got tripped. It's wrong with Gottsy leg. That's the lineup for London right now. Kearney up there. Prosper jumping out on Cadogan. Cadogan up top again with Kearney. Reached and foul. Should have took another step. He probably could have drawn a charge that time, Kearney.
That's his first and team's 6th. Lightning ball.
London Lightning ball up top with Criswell. Back with Kyle Johnson. We had a great shooting game the other night. In the corner is open is Troy Gottsegleg. Unable to convert that time. Rebound by Kearney. They're pushing the ball up as quickly as they can. Victor Springer Williams with the ball looking inside to Prosper, but Gottsegleg holding his own against a much larger opponent. Unable to get the ball inside. This is Ellison up top. Swings the ball over to Prosper. Prosper trying to get inside. Nice deflection. Good help out by Criswell that time. And driving the ball again to the hoop, but this time loses control is Kyle Johnson. This is Ellison coming with the ball. Stops, pops for a three-pointer, and makes it.
Great shot there from Wally Ellenson. He wasn't a prolific scorer during his time at Marquette. Only averaged about 3 points per game, but he has 3 to match it tonight alone.
Oh, a little scrambling underneath the net there. Windsor holding tough underneath. Gottselig was off balance when he took a shot, and Kearney dribbles the ball off his foot. That'll be a turnover for Windsor. Back to London at the sidelines. 28-20, 12 seconds to go in the quarter.
As we're seeing down in the post, we saw Friesen fall in a little battle with Prosper. This game's already very physical, and we aren't even quite finished the first quarter left. 12.5 seconds.
Dugan up top, down to 10 seconds left on the clock for the quarter, trying to be his man off the dribble. Prosper jumps out and hedges really well and got to shoot over a big man here. Can he do it, Cadogan? Unable, gets blocked inside, but Criswell follows up with a loose rebound and good body control, lays it off the basket for 2 points at the buzzer. It's 30-20 after the first quarter. London Lightning over the Windsor Express.
some of the standouts, of course, in that quarter. You've got, as we look at the stats here, Royce White, 9 points, 4 rebounds. Julian Boyd, 9 points. And everyone else on London, there's a 2 and a 3 here and there, but not a whole lot of contribution. One thing that does stand out, London has 7 assists compared to 2 for Windsor. Looking at the Windsor players, Warren Ward been the standout. Perfect shooting so far, 7 points. And then the rest of it really has been a team effort, as no one else has more than 3 points on the Express. And I really think that number that stands out is the assist, with London leading that, because they've been moving the ball so efficiently around the perimeter, and we've seen great passes from Cadogan. We saw some great passes between Anderson, Williamson, and that's been a real difference maker for the Lightning.
Looks like Windsor's sort of hanging in by their free throws, 8 for 10. They've been to the line 10 times. London's only been there 3, even though they've been driving to the hoop. 4 blocks for Windsor as well, so they're hanging tough inside.
One thing with Windsor, too, we saw them go with that bigger lineup with Kearney, who's not a natural point guard, playing that point spot. And you got to look at Windsor's 8 turnovers and wonder if maybe they need a true point guard to be their primary ball handler. And I know that would be Darren Duncan were he healthy. So that's something that, could just get corrected internally. But for this game, they might want to give Mo Jones, who had 8.5 assists per game so far between his 2 games. They might want to give him the ball a little bit more. I know you give up a bit on defense because of his size, but 8 turnovers in 1 quarter is not pretty.
Well, that's a good observation, Chris. Turnovers will hurt any team, and in particular, if you're turning over London Lightning, they're going down the court as fast as they can, trying to convert, and they've got the shooters to do it.
And it helps that London's been really converting off of that. They've got 12 points off of those turnovers. I mean, you're down 10. This could be a 2-point game right now if you don't let London have all those buckets off the turnovers.
Okay, team's coming back on the floor. See if there's any substitutions made. Giroux still out on the floor. He's going to be throwing the ball in for Windsor. Kearney's still out there, as well as Springer Williams, Ellison, and who's on the far side there? Oh, that's still Prosper as well. For the Lightning, Junior Cadogan, Garden Kearney up top. Criswell still on. Same with Joel Friesen. Gosteglig. Kearney getting pressured. Good heads-up play, and open court foul there by Kearney. Otherwise, that was a 2-point layup.
Again, not a great start, because immediately we just mentioned the turnovers, and that's the very first thing Windsor does in this quarter. I understand they're a bit handcuffed in that respect because they are missing Darren Duncan. But I really would suggest they get someone like a Maurice Jones in there.
Well, Alex Campbell has come in for Kearney at this moment, so let's see what he can bring to the table. That's Kyle Johnson up top, looking to swing the ball inside, driving down inside, going to lay it up with his left hand. Nice touch. Then, like we said, the ball can be touched early once it hits the rim. And that was Criswell. Ellison almost ready to pull up again. That's Campbell with the ball up top for Windsor. Alex Campbell guarded by Junior Cadogan. Prosper with the big screen. Great hedge by Gosteglig. And able to retreat and get back in position. This is Williams. And he makes it. Springer Williams. Clinton Springer Williams from the Carleton Ravens.
And that's something Springer Williams has been improving on since coming into the league, is being able to make that 3-point shot. And because of his ability to play defense, that makes him into that ever so valuable 3-and-D player, a lot like Joel Friesen does for the London Lightning. And so Springer Williams, if he can consistently make that shot, just makes himself ever more valuable.
Junior Cadogan trying to reach around, stealing the ball from Springer Williams. Caught with a foul that time.
Foul charged the Lightning's number 5, Junior Cadogan. That's his second in the team's first.
Ellison with the ball out on the sideline for Windsor. Prosper up top. Prosper, of course, not known for his 3-point shooting. Looks like a holding foul, I believe.
Looks like they're going to call that one on Kyle Johnson.
It is on Johnson, okay. There was a lot of action going on the sideline there, and no Windsor player springing free. So somebody was holding somebody. Ellison with the ball again. Up to Campbell. This is Joel Friesen with Garden Campbell. Springer Williams again up top, looking underneath. No, he takes another long 3. Unable to get it. Big rebound, tracked down by Kyle Johnson.
Just a bit of a heat check there from Clinton Springer Williams, seeing if the hand's still hot.
Gossett leg in the corner. Looks like Windsor's picked up their defense a little bit here. A little more active on the switches. This is Johnson driving to the hoop with the crossover. High off the backboard, unable to convert. Here comes Campbell pushing the ball, looking for Allison. He pulls up for a three. That's a travel. Trying to get his feet set. He needed to put the ball on the floor for one dribble to get his feet set. I thought they might have taken it to the basket. Two Windsor players were underneath there. Instead, they settled for the three.
Especially that early in the shot clock. I don't think Coach Bill Jones is going to be thrilled with that shot.
Okay, Prosper and Ellison going off the floor. Giroux still on, along with Campbell. This is Cadogan for London with the ball. Julian Boyd back on the floor as well, along with Royce White for London Lightning, along with Nick Evans for Windsor. And the battle's already going on up top. As you can see, a little crossover dribble. Hands the ball up. I do not know how he got that pass to Julian Boyd, but he did, and Boyd finishes it off.
Well, I think it just got knocked out of his hand, and Boyd had a look what I found moment and is able to finish on the play.
Campbell up top. Giroux going back, trying to go back door to Ward. There's Campbell with a three-point attempt, and he makes it. Sometimes you just don't know who's got the touch this early in the season. We're starting to learn some of the strengths and tendencies of each of the teams. Campbell looks very comfortable shooting that three. White pushing his way through a double team, puts it up with his left hand, draws the foul, going to the foul line. He is so strong with that ball.
Again, it's interesting. You think a guy like Nick Evans is brought in to kind of prevent that interior play, but Royce White has just had one of probably the best game we've seen him have with the London Lightning, even this early in the game. I feel like it's safe to say that. As he goes to the line here, if he makes them both, knock on wood, that'll be 11 points for him already. And we're only about 2 minutes into this second quarter here.
Well, right now it looks like he can go anywhere and do anything he wants on the floor, imposing his will on the game for the London Lightning. Windsor struggling at this time to control him. Campbell bringing the ball up. That's Ryan Anderson putting some pressure on him up top. They're looking to try going underneath. A lot of overplay that time was Williamson trying to overplay Connell Brown. Again, a three-point attempt. They want to get back in with a three-point weapon, and that's Warren Ward. Like you said, he can shoot.
Again, we got some battles going on with these lineups here. Royce White versus Nick Evans being one, and Ward versus Friesen the other.
Boyd again a beneficiary. A nice entry pass by Royce White. He flashed to the foul line, and softly in his hands came the pass from White. And he makes the easy jumper. Campbell again up top. Turnovers seem to be turned down a bit here with the Windsor, with Campbell coming in, steadying the ship a bit. Drives to the hoop, gets the foul. Who's that foul on?
Foul starts with Lightning's number 42, Julian Boyd.
Julian Boyd, that's his second foul. Windsor hanging in just under 10 points here, 9-point lead for Lightning. Back down to single digits. But you're right, it seems to be a lot of matchups going on here. When one team makes a sub, like London does with Royce White, in comes Evan. You're absolutely right.
Well, it's pretty clear they want the Friesen-Ward matchup, and I think both players kind of want it. They're, of course, competitors, and Ward wanting a little bit of revenge, Friesen with his new team. And, of course, those two clashed in the NBL Finals last year when Ward was with the Lightning and Friesen with the Hurricanes, so there's a little bit of familiarity involved, too.
Again, turns, beautiful crossover dribble, and puts it with his left hand off the backboard, right over top of Nick Evans. Like I said, at this moment, he can get anywhere on the floor that he wants. Warren Ward with the ball up top. Now Brown swinging the ball in the corner. Pass into the corner goes, and this is Giroux going hard to the hoop, which is a great crossover dribble, bringing the ball long, lanky forward. Big first step, draws the foul. And again, Windsor's spending a lot of time at the foul line.
Well, it's going to be the 13th and 14th free throw here for the Windsor Express already this early in the game. And I think it's, of course, Windsor loves to play physical, and that draws a ton of fouls. But I think the London Lightning are kind of okay letting them play this way. So far, nobody on the Lightning's in any major foul trouble. So I think with their depth and their ability to throw a bunch of different players, they're perfectly okay with making Windsor earn it from the charity stripe.
Ryan Anderson up top, Warren Ward guarding him. Here's Royce White again. They're putting everything through him, and again, the beneficiary of an excellent entry pass by White into Julian Boyd, and he is finishing. Brown now with the ball up top. Quick hands by Ryan Anderson. Throws the ball in for a quick two-hand flush by Garrett Williamson, and a quick spurt by the London Lightning.
And that chemistry between Williamson and Anderson is something we saw all off-season. Of course, both players now at 100%. They were kind of dinged up for most of last year, and both these guys could be primed for big years.
Ward up top with Friesen against him, just like you said, last year's matchup. Here we go again. Friesen doing a great job moving his feet, reaching in without fouling.
Oh,
and the last second, I did not see the hold by Friesen on that ball. I thought he knocked the ball loose. Friesen just needs to keep his cool. He played excellent defense. The coach knows it. Somewhere in there was a foul. So, shot clock goes back to 14. Windsor gains a reprieve because they had nothing going on in that possession.
Again, that's one of those ones, the coach has to love the defense, but at the same time, it's frustrating because you have a team play great defense, then the last second bail them out. And I think that was too long to make the pass. I'm not sure what the call was on that.
Well, that was Campbell's trying to get free on the screen, and Evans held his man. So you could just see the big guy holding on to him. This is Williamson trying to draw a foul from Cannell Brown. There's a reach in from behind. That's more of a foul than what we saw from Friesen, we thought. A step back shot. Good boards underneath by Giroux. This is Ward with the ball, bringing it up. Again, Boyd this time guarding him. Bit of a mismatch there. Ball getting swung around to Campbell, back to Ward. Cannell Brown getting denied by Friesen that time.
Ward wants to ISO this. He's got the mismatch.
He does, with the speed, not in the height. Corner in there, Giroux. Off the side of the backboard. Hard fought rebound by Julian Boyd. Throws the ball up to Friesen, trying to push the ball up quick again. And now they pull it back out. Nice bounce pass, and Julian Boyd is doing everything right, and his teammates are finding him every time, and every time he gets it, he finishes. That time it's going to be the three-point play the old-fashioned way.
I want to frame that pass from Joel Friesen right there. He got the defender to leave his feet, leaned over, and threw a beautiful bounce pass inside to Julian Boyd. And Boyd has had a great game. If he makes some buckets here, that'll give him 18 points, and he's got it. So 18 points in this game from Julian Boyd.
What I like about all Julian Boyd's points are he's moving into position. Every basket he's got, London has an assist on. Great help on defense, and Boyd is the star of this first half.
Well, Julian Boyd just about got a fan with that swat there. Wow.
Well, like I said, all Boyd's baskets have been off a great entry pass or a great swing pass by his London teammates. So that's why the assists are piling up so great for London Lightning. Mainly because Boyd is moving into the right position, sealing off his man or flashing through. Great positional play. A couple substitutions again. Evans coming down full court here. Not sure why the big guy is going to cover White. He's much quicker than Evans. See what goes on here. Cannell Brown also coming down, throwing it to Williamson. Throw it over top. Williamson pushing it hard to the basket, swings it out to the hot man. Can he make it? He does! He is on fire. Okay, so we got Maurice Jones back in as a point guard, like you suggested earlier. Needs more steadying hand. Cannell Brown pulling up a three, and he gets fouled at the end, I believe, by White on the follow-through.
This game really slowing down, and you'd think this is more the type of game that the Windsor Express would thrive on, but so far it's kind of been interesting. The Lightning are getting their transition points, but when things do come to a crawl, they've still been able to produce those points, and a lot of it has to go with what's been really the big connection in this game has been the White-Boyd connection, and those two are just creating havoc for the Windsor Express. Of course, both players have combined for 34 points already in this game.
And Windsor is struggling to get any free open look shots other than the foul line. Every shot is contested.
Another problem for Windsor, Royce White has 5 assists. The entire Windsor Express have 3. So that ball's not really moving around when the Express are down on the offense, and the turnovers haven't gotten much better. Windsor at 13 compared to London 6.
Well, it's definitely a telling of the tape there on the score. That looked like a foul that Anderson was trying to draw and unable to get. This is Maurice Jones, quick moving, but it's still another turnover. This is Anderson with the ball up top to White. Does a step over, a nice under the pass again, in great hands.
Well, the ballet moves to get around the
Wow,
attempt to draw a
avoid
charge.
a foul, absolutely. But just lays that pass in so softly for his teammate. A nice reverse layup. This is Ward up top. Long three again. They're settling for threes, and they're getting burned here on the turnover because London is running. Anderson unable to hang on to a travel. That was a nice outlet pass, just unable to hang on to it.
I don't think Anderson was quite ready for that one there.
Those three-pointers are giving long rebounds that, for the most part, London Lightning are picking up. Very few second chances for Windsor, and mostly contested shots. So it's a big run here for the London Lightning. 52-33 for the Lightning over the Express.
And again, the story has been in this game. I don't want to drill this home too much because I feel for the Windsor Express. They're missing Darren Duncan, who would solve almost all of these problems. But right now on offense, they're not moving the ball at all. The assists are 14-3 for London. The turnovers, 14-7. Windsor with way more than London. But the big difference is that when they get out in transition after those turnovers, the London Lightning have 23 points off of 14 turnovers, whereas the Express have only managed 3 points off of 7 turnovers. So the Lightning's transition game, when they play their way, has been what's killing the Express. But the problem is when they play the Express way, the Lightning are still managing to score. So right now, it's not looking great for the Express. Bill Jones is an amazing coach, and I know that come halftime, we're going to see a totally different team. He's going to make those adjustments. I know he will. And they'll fix those problems. But right now, it's about surviving the rest of the half.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, we did our first home game on Boxing Day, I believe it was, against Niagara, and London had a good-sized lead against Niagara, and Niagara made some halftime adjustments, crawled back in that game in the third quarter, inched ahead, stayed ahead, and barely stayed ahead at the end. And so London was a tale of two halves that game. Now the rematch against Niagara, they were going full out like they are tonight, and they held that for the whole game. We'll see what we see from the London Lightning in the second half. I know Kyle Julius is looking for consistency, not only in offense, but also on the defensive intensity as well. Right now, only 33 points scored by Windsor in this half. Yeah, you're right. They are sort of staying with the some of the main starters here a little bit longer, London, than we saw in the earlier game. This is Anderson up top, guarding Jones, Maurice Jones, smallest man in the court, best ball handler. That's Ward up top. Hands in the face by Williamson. Look where Quinnell Ball gets the ball. He's way out near the three-point line. He's got nowhere to go, and nobody hardly moving for him to pass the ball to. Isolated one-on-one with Anderson. Patterson back in the game, Shantez Patterson. Again, Windsor going to the foul line, but London's going to live with these fouls because they're playing tough, terrific, hard-nosed defense, and sometimes that results in personal fouls. And more often than not tonight, these caused turnovers rather than fouls. Evans back on the floor as well with Patterson. White putting the ball up quickly to Frederick Edmonds, back on for the second time this game. And the star of the first half so far, or at least on the points, Julian Boyd. Big mismatch underneath there was on the switch off. One-handing it, throwing it out to top to Boyd again. This time he kicks it back out to Royce White. Royce White taking him one-on-one off the dribble and softly off the backboard. Even with some contact with the big guy, Nick Evans, still puts it off the backboard. Royce White.
And just to show you the strength of White, Evans has long been known as one of the strongest centers in NBLC, and Royce White is just bullying him on his way to the rim.
Patterson being guarded tightly by Edmonds. Going hard to the hoop is Ward, trying to draw the foul. Touched the ball, knocked it all the ball out of bounds himself. And again, a contested shot underneath. No foul that time by London, but aggressive defense, man on man. Everything contested. Windsor struggling to put the ball in the hoop with an open look. 4 minutes left in this quarter yet. Anderson this time bringing the ball up. Interesting that Cadogan has been off the floor for a while, and they've been putting the ball in the hands of Williamson and Anderson. As he's falling off backwards, he still makes the pass. Boyd going to the hoop. He's trying to slam it, and Nick Evans denies it, but gets the foul. But Boyd had one thing in his mind. He was slamming that ball down through that hoop.
Oh my goodness, if that had gone through, he might have
the house down.
Oh my Lord. I know I'm in the booth here and I just about lost it. It fell right back out of my chair. If that had fallen through, wow.
Well, he's definitely got all the confidence in the world right now. Makes the first foul shot. Opens up a 20-point lead now in the first half. Julian Boyle line and makes his second one as well. So Anderson, Garden Jones up top. It's Ward with the ball going to the hoop. Nice dump off for Nick. Evans unable to convert off the backboard. Anderson with the ball after the outlet from Julian Boyd. Great crossover dribble, and Boyd accidentally falls his hand. He throws it up with his left hand, gets fouled. Everything is falling his way. And even when Anderson stumbled with the ball, he picks it up, lands in his lap, draws a foul from the big guy. Evans has got to have how many fouls now? At least 3, I would think.
That's going to be his third, yes. And Julian Boyd, a very interesting guy. He of course, he injured his leg while he was in college. He's has 3 different ACL tears, if my research is correct. And he's a guy who really, you wonder after that many injuries, are they going to have that explosiveness? Are they going to have that ability to jump, to run? And Boyd has shown he might be the strongest he's ever been the way he's playing right now.
He's playing terrific right now. He's right. Connell Brown up top, guarded by Edmonds. Trying to beat the man off the dribble. Reach in there by Anderson, knocks the ball loose. Great dump off underneath. Royce White knocks the ball out of bounds off the head of Patterson. Good help defense. But like I said, London being very aggressive on defense.
You know, I think London really wants to bury Windsor. They know what happened in that Niagara game. They know they let them back into that first game of the season. And so they want to make sure they don't give the Express any room to breathe.
Garrett Williamson had the man at a disadvantage. That was Lester Prosper. Unable to guard him off the dribble and just took him right to the hoop, leaned in, grabbed the foul, and on the foul line he is.
You know, I gotta say, it kind of feels like the fouls have been going one way. I didn't actually realize it until I looked at the stats. The fouls have been identical. 12 on London, 13 on Windsor. So it's really been rather evenly refereed. Of course, the Express have had way more shooting fouls. They've gone to the line. They've shot 19 times from the line, whereas London, that's only their 11th and 12th shot from the charity stripe.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. London is contesting every shot, so a lot of times a player will go to the line, whereas Windsor is not moving their feet on defense, doing it early on the defensive play. Ball gets knocked out. Royce White in there with Lester Prosper. I'm not sure who would win that tug of war exactly, but maybe Prosper would. But
well, it's going to be London ball due to the possession arrow pointing that way there. So White, good job to get his hands in there and try and grab it.
Ellison back in the game for Windsor. Coming off is Ward. So who's going to be primary ball handler will be Maurice Jones. So he's guarding Evans at this moment. Evans didn't know if he was tagged as a primary ball handler, but he's been doing a lot of ball handling. That's Anderson from way out long. And White getting the long rebound. Crossover, going hard to the hoop. Throws it up with his right hand that time. Draws the foul from the defender. He is so good at drawing the fouls underneath.
Well, I think his impact, not just on the stat sheet where he's leading London in assists and rebounds and has 15 points himself, but also the fact that he's been getting the Windsor bigs into trouble. We've seen Nick Evans has already had to go to the bench early with 3 fouls. And then we see a guy like Giroux, who's got 2 fouls. And then finally, of course, Prosper, who I believe just picked up his 3rd there. So he's really creating havoc because he's forcing those bigs to come out of the game. And Windsor, a team that likes to play big, it isn't going to be able to if they keep having to sit their taller guys.
Yes, and of course they're missing a big yet, right? DeAndre Thomas, was it?
Well, there's still a lot of we don't know exactly what's going on with DeAndre Thomas. It's believed that right now he's focusing on his rehab. That's a great play there from Maurice Lewis.
Yes.
It's believed right now that Thomas is focusing on his rehab. They're not really rushing him into the lineup or anything. But that is a bigger guy with NBL pedigree that they do have, who's been around the team.
London fighting hard and underneath. Just too much traffic there for Evans to put the ball back. This is Cannell Brown. Evans back on defense, trying to keep him in front. This is Jones with the ball up top. Last time he did a great dribble drive to the hoop over top of the defender. That time unable to get his legs underneath him. That should be London ball, and it is. Knocked out by Patterson.
Just about everything going London's way. And, of course, we've been talking about the inside presence of Julian Boyd and Royce White. Points in the paint right now, 28-4 for London.
That's a huge advantage, you're right. And a number of those assists are coming out of the point as well for wide open looks for the London players. Here's White underneath again. By Prosper, unable to keep his feet. She finds Anderson in the corner somehow, unable to convert, but what a terrific pass. Terrific look into the corner by Royce White. Here's Jones dribbling right through the key, nowhere to go. London covering the key very well, like you said. Few points in the paint for Windsor. Cannell Brown now guarded by Royce White. Looked like moved his feet, but lifted his knee and caused turnover for Cannell Brown and the foul. They go into the line. So 61-37, 24-point lead with a minute to go. Bill Jones is going to have to come up with some kind of adjustments, some kind of lineup adjustments, some kind of strategy adjustments to see if they can get back in this game. Looking at the London bench, pretty well every player, maybe 1 or 2 have not played, but pretty well every player on the bench has played for the London Lightning. Our first look at Singleton, number 12, if you haven't picked him out yet on the court. Williamson up top. This is Gottselig. Brian Anderson driving the corner. He's got Ellison on him, much shorter man. Pulls up. Haven't got quite his shooting eye tonight so far. Anderson was hot the other night in the rematch against Niagara. Tonight, struggling a little bit. That looked like a travel to me. By Jones. Got caught under control there. Throws the ball out of bounds. I think you're right. Windsor wants to get out of the half and regroup.
Right now it's just about trying not to make this any worse than it is, but 61-37 kind of tells you the whole story right there.
So getting a lot of playing time is Edmonds, I notice. That's Anderson again looking for a shot. The shooter will always shoot the open one. He's always got confidence, and the next one's going to go. That's Anderson, another big weapon. Coming to the fore for the London Lightning. A bit of a rout here in the first half. Budweiser Gardens here. First day of 2017 NBL season. The London Lightning and the Windsor Express. I'm Jonathan Howlingen, along with Chris Croucher calling the game for you today. Jump shot. 3-point. Time just about out. Ball's off in time. So big half for London Lightning. 64-37. Windsor heading to the dressing room. Got to come up with some answers, Coach Bill Jones. So we'll be back shortly with some halftime stats and review.
Proud supporter of London local wear and thousands of teams.
JP, there's only 2 players.
Modern North coaches. Banner has different sizes for big groups or
All right, 64-37 at the half. London Lightning putting on a romping over the Windsor Express as we welcome you to the Knoxtrom halftime courtside. And JP, there's two players that come to mind when we talk about this first half, and it's all on the front line for the London Lightning, Julian Boyd and Royce White.
Both of them have been dominant so far, coming right out of the gate here for this first half so far. 24 points for Boyd, 4 of 5 shooting from the outside. Then you have Royce White putting up an almost triple-double already, with already double-digit points as well. 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in this first half. So both of those men for the front line for London have been dominant so far in what has been an absolute major offensive showing so far from London with 64 first half points.
And on the other hand, Windsor, we said at the top of the telecast how they are better in the second half. They didn't have a slow start, but it was like Orangeville. Their first half, it was all right. The defense was a problem, but offensively, they had chances to make plenty of good shots. They weren't able to go in.
Exactly. Right now, they're shooting 33%. That is majorly hurting them right now for this Windsor squad right now. You can't have that happen if you're Coach Jones, that's for sure, with how they're struggling off here in this first half so far. Yeah, they have to definitely improve that heading into the second half, that's for sure.
And on the light side of things, Alex Campbell came in the game and scored his first few MBLC points. So it was great for him for him to come off the bench and actually score it. So that's a light side for the Windsor Express, being able to get their bench to score.
Yes, for the University of Windsor Lancer graduate there. Big time moment for him coming in. That is a big moment if you're a young player. His first professional season coming from the University of Windsor. Local player for this Windsor Express squad. And he was a major star in the OUA in his last season. We'll have to see how he progresses as the season goes on, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Going back to the London Lightning, they are really developing traffic inside. Windsor's defense wasn't able to contain neither Boyd or White or pretty much anybody in the paint in that matter. Nick Evans already in foul trouble, 3 fouls, and that's been kind of the problem for him, picking up at least 3 or more fouls during the first half. That's something they need to pick up on.
They have to, that's for sure. With Nick Evans, yes, he's had a career history of having some foul troubles in some games, but the problem is, with this Windsor squad, without him on that floor, this team seems to be just struggling offensively. And you mentioned the points in the paint. 28-4 London advantage right now. That's a plus 24 advantage. You can't have that happen. You have to lock in that paint, that's for sure.
Absolutely. We're going to step aside and it's your time to shine. We got the Commissioner David Magley standing by. I'm going to step away. JP will take over for the rest of the Knoxtrom halftime, but we're going to stand aside for a little bit, have a commercial, and we'll come back with Commissioner David Magley. So please stand by.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Knoxtrom halftime. Justin Prince alongside here with the Commissioner of the NBL Canada, David Magley. How are you doing, sir, tonight?
Fantastic. Happy New Year, Justin.
Happy New Year to you too as well. It's been a fun game here as well, but of course, it has also been a great league coming in this season. You're entering now your second season here as Commissioner of NBL Canada. How do you feel about the league so far coming into your second season here, just starting off your second season?
Well, really great first week. I was at the Halifax ring ceremony. They had a great game against Moncton, and I went and watched Halifax play against the first ever Cape Breton game, and there was over 3,000 people at Cape Breton. Then I went to watch a great crowd in Moncton when they beat Cape Breton in a really great game. So, these teams are virtually everybody's losing and winning, and it's close games and competitive. Today's a a heck of a game for London so far, but it's been a great start to our season. Really happy. First crowd at KW was awesome. Kitchener-Waterloo is going to be an amazing market. So really thrilled with what we're seeing.
As well, you mentioned the teams playing competitively in all the games, winning and losing. It seems as well the talent level has also gone up this season compared to last, with the multiple free agent signings for this team, especially, for example, in this game, Royce White for the London Lightning. What are your thoughts about the quality of the players?
Yeah, there's a lot of talented players. Royce White is just one of them. Julian Boyd's been great today, and there's just a lot of really good players in our league, and I'm very, very happy with the talent level.
All right, as well, and I'm wondering as well, it's a nice turnout here. You have the upper deck actually filled up here at Budweiser Gardens. What are your thoughts so far about the fan interaction, the excitement you've seen from the fans in all the different markets so far this season?
Well, I think we're on pace to have a record season in fan base. The activity on social media is just growing and becoming real exciting. I just think that we're in some great things. I think there's some new markets you'll see again next year, and expansion will continue to happen. And this league is becoming a force to be reckoned with, and some national sponsors are really starting to show some interest. And I think over the next year, you're going to really like what's going to happen with this league.
If you don't mind me asking as well, you mentioned future expansion. Where are you looking at for the expansion in the near future for the league?
Well, I mean, we'd like to be in Sudbury. We'd like to be in Laval, which is a suburb of Montreal, possibly even downtown Toronto. But there's a lot of markets. Ottawa we need to be in. Kingston, we need to be. Those are all existing footprints, even Fredericton. But then we have to go out west. And Alberta's a natural because of all of the WHL teams that are out that way. But starting in Winnipeg and going further west, there's no reason why in the next 5 years you won't see 20 to 25 teams in this league.
Oh, wow, that is a lot of teams coming in. Definitely a good measure of success here. But as we approach the beginning of the second half here as well, Commissioner Magley as well, you mentioned with that as well, what else do you hope to see for this season in the near future for the league on top of the expansion and on top of the national sponsorships?
Well, I just want to keep our level high of play. I like our decorum of our coaches is really good this year. I think our referees are doing a great job. I just think we just need to keep listening to the fans and understanding what they want to see. And I'm doing weekly blogs now and trying to answer their questions that way and be real transparent as we have been, at least since I've gotten involved. The relationship between our owners is good, and we want to continue building on that because that's the secret to success. If these guys all work well together, then there's nothing we can't accomplish.
And that's definitely a good thing, that's for sure, especially for the NBLC here. Is there anything else you want to say before we head into the second half here?
No, just I'm really excited to go through the crowd and continue to visit with fans and encourage all of them to come to me and ask questions and give comments, and that's how we're going to grow and improve. And I think you're going to be thrilled with what this league looks like this year.
All right, thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to everyone here down at home. We'll be right back here with the remainder of the Knoxroom halftime here from Budweiser Gardens. We'll see you in just a minute.
Quite amazing how one person could go from about 6 feet to back to 5'9". Aaron Sanders back with. There we go. Now the mic. As I was saying, it's quite amazing how one person could go from 6 feet and more back to 5'9". Aaron Sanders back with you for the Knoxtrom halftime. Second half keys. Start off for Windsor.
Well, with Windsor right now, they got to definitely, first off, lock up that paint right now, because that is a main thing on top of that fast pace I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, is getting inside the paint. But also you have to stop Julian Boyd, because when they have been stopping on the inside, he's been draining it for 3 right now. This team, they need to start shutting down this London offense, that's for sure, because they're shooting 53%. Windsor has to definitely shoot better as well on top of that.
And to add it too, London Lightning's playing a zone defense, so you know what's one way to put that all good measure? Ball movement. Keep on swinging the ball until you find a gap inside the paint for either Evans or Shantez Patterson to dominate in. London Lightning.
Well, with the London Lightning as well, I want to mention as well, to keep in this lead, they have to lock down that team and stop that ball moving with their zone. That's for sure. Like Maurice Jones showed on December 30th that he can pass the ball with 15 assists. They got to lock that down in case he has the same thing happen in the second half here at Budweiser Gardens. You also have to make sure you keep Nick Evans out of the equation with 3 fouls he has right now, where he's in foul trouble. You got to make sure you somehow can attract fouls on him to keep him out of this game and keep him from being an offensive and rebounding threat. That's for sure.
That's right. Use that foul trouble to your advantage, and especially watch out for the high screens. If you pick out on the high screens, you'll be able to stop them now down the wings, put a half-court pressure trap, and be able to bring the ball back to home and take it home. That's how I see it. So watch the high ball movements. Use that foul trouble to your advantage. They're doing pretty well, and they're handling it with professionalism as well. But that's one of Windsor's vices, is that foul trouble, and that has to be taken care of if you are the part of the Rose City.
They definitely have to right now, and they have to make sure their best players are not in that foul trouble if they want to keep in this game 100%. You're right there, because team fouls, 15 team fouls in that first half. They can't have the same thing, because right now, 2 fouls right now going on for Gerard Giroux. You have also 2 fouls for Warren Ward. You have 3 fouls as well for Lester Prosper, which is another big trouble for that front line right now. 2 fouls coming in as well for Brandon Corney, pardon me. So right now, you got to not get fouled right now if you're Windsor, or else you are in major trouble and you lose your 2 or 3 or your 4 your starters in the second half.
And they're known as a tough second half team this season. Let's see how they do. And JP, that's for us right here at the Knoxtrom halftime. Stay tuned after the game. We'll be here for the Knoxtrom postgame as well. John and Chris will be back in the call for the second half right after we take timeout. Would you watch this, please? Thank you.
Welcome back, sports fans, to the Budweiser Gardens here on New Year's Day. London Lightning versus the Windsor Express. Chris, give us some stats from that first half. I know they're pretty well slanted in the Lightning direction at this time.
Well, I'll give you the players first. You got Julian Boyd having a fantastic game, 24 points in that first half alone. And then Royce White showing his ability to be versatile, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. So again, that front court for the London Lightning just wreaking all kinds of havoc. Don't sleep on Garrett Williamson. He's got 9 points in this game. Majority of their offense, though, coming from that lineup that we saw get the majority of the time. So Garrett Williamson, Julian Boyd, Royce White, Ryan Anderson, and of course you had Joel Friesen in there. He hasn't done too much scoring, but I mean he's made just about every difference possible on the defensive end. Looking at the Windsor Express, your leader for them is Warren Ward with 12 points. Lester Prosper has 6 rebounds, and Shantez Patterson 2 assists. And I think the real telling stat though has been those points in the paint. We talked about Royce White, we talked about Julian Boyd, and how those guys are really wreaking havoc. Points in the paint, 28-4 in the Lightning advantage as well. Points off of turnover, 28-5. So that shows that Windsor, because the turnovers are slanted. It's 16 turnovers for Windsor, 7 for London. But at the same time, London's able to get those turnovers, quickly move in transition, and turn that into points. Windsor, even though they've had less turnovers, that's 7 turnovers, and you only managed to get 5 points off of that. So that means you got 5 out of a potential 14 points that could have been had there. And so for the Windsor Express, that kind of points towards a little bit of difficulty in transition. But again, Windsor fans, if you're wondering what's going on here, I really honestly believe Darren Duncan solves a lot of these problems with his ability to run the offense from the point.
Thanks, Chris. I agree with everything you said there, but it has been all London's game so far. Let's see what the second half brings for adjustments from Coach Bill Jones and his lineup. So Windsor with the ball up top. That's Maurice Jones, guarded by Junior Cadogan, who's back on the floor. A reach-in foul that time by Ryan Anderson, trying to steal it from the best ball handler from Windsor. Not sure if that was wise. But like I said, London's been playing aggressively. So far they've been rewarded by 16 turnovers, even though Windsor's been to the foul line a few more times. It has not paid off for Windsor, but it has for London. Quinnell Jones makes his first shot from the outside, or Quinnell Brown, sorry, from the outside. Good sign for Windsor. They couldn't get him untracked in the first half. Royce White up top of the ball, Junior Cadogan, guarded by Jones. Long three-point line, and he answers. And looks at Quinnell Brown and says, "You can do it, I can do it too." Ryan Anderson. They're trying to open up the one side of the floor by having Evans step back the other side. Nice pull-up jumper that time by Jones.
Oh.
A little bit of a fisticuffs going on. That is not going to be a good sign between Royce White and Evans. That is unfortunate. Both players, key players on each of the teams. Royce White was having a fabulous game, and I believe he threw a punch there at Evans. I'm not sure, other than what the physical contact was underneath the basket, that caused that all.
This would be a huge loss if Royce White is, any sort of loss of Royce White in this game is going to be huge, whether it's for a bit of time with a foul or whether it's because he's getting ejected here. I personally, I didn't see everything that went down there, but White and Evans very much have been battling all game.
Well, let's see. Wait to see what the referees decide here. I thought there was an indication of a ejection by the referee for Royce White, but we'll see what comes up.
Well, again, Royce White has been really, really taking it to Nick Evans in this game, so if Nick Evans is able to get Royce White to throw that punch and turn it into a Royce White ejection, that would... It sounds rather mean, but that would be a really good thing for the Windsor Express if they could pull that off. It's almost like in hockey, where you'll see two guys get into a fight, and it'll be someone who's really skilled on one team, someone who's not so skilled on the other team. That guy who's not so skilled made a great play.
Well, let's see.
That's going to be Evans ejected.
Evans is going for sure. It looks like off the court, back to the dressing room for the visitors. Yes, and Royce White, I believe, has also been disqualified from the competition as well. So the referees throwing both players out for excessive force in the game and a wrestling and maybe a punch match there. We'll see how the league looks at that after the game.
And again, that's really not a fun trade-off for the London Lightning, losing Royce White for that. So we have a reset of the second half with a couple of the main players exiting off the stage. This Cadogan, with Criswell coming in for Royce White. It's Garrett Williamson, the leader of the team, taking it to the hoop. And soft touch, absorbs the contact again from Giroux and able to put the ball in the basket. Great save there by Quinnell Brown. Going to be almost a half-court violation there, but Jones with his quick dribble, able to go up and in. He gets bodied as he goes through. Able to twist and turn in the lane was Maurice Jones, and to draw the foul. Again, this game could get very, very chippy, and you got to hope some of the veteran players for each team just try and keep everyone cool here. This is very much potential for something to go awry here.
So Maurice Jones at the foul line. Makes his first. Well, it's definitely going to set up a regular season rivalry here again between Windsor and London, which it has been every year anyway, even with new players on each team. Looks like it's getting resumed. Battle of the 401. Williamson over top to Anderson. This is Julian Boyd having his way in the middle. Early, great head fake, pump fake, puts Journeau up in the air and puts it off the backboard. Julian Boyd continuing his torrid scoring pace. Jones again trying to beat Cadogan off the dribble and trying to dish it off to Quinnell Brown. That time well covered by Criswell. We know Quinnell Brown can heat up. He pulls up for a long jumper, and that's 2 for 2 threes in the second half. A great sign for the Windsor Express.
Well, someone on the Windsor Express needs to get going. Quinnell Brown would be a huge guy to have get hot for the Windsor Express.
Criswell the ball over to Williamson on the side, setting up. Boyd in the corner. Going to give it a one-on-one with Williamson. Dishes out to Anderson. He steps over, gives it to Cadogan. Brings it down in the hoop, looking for Anderson. He's way back. Shot clock's nearly out. That was the only shot he really had. No dribble penetration allowed that time by the Windsor Express.
Things might heat up again. Here we got Joel Friesen checking into the game. Him and Warren Ward have had a nice battle so far in this one.
Well, Maurice Jones bringing the ball. Junior Cadogan guarding him. Takes it to the same left side again, brings it over with the dribble, a little bit of head fake, floats in the air, tries to put it off the backboard. Williamson with the rebound. Cadogan bringing the ball up quickly. Cadogan bringing it into the lane, throws it to the corner to Julian Boyd, who hits that fadeaway jumper. Unfortunately, a foul was called, but he's still hot. Now, if I looked earlier for Julian Boyd, he's 9 for 11 shooting from twos and 4 for 5 from the threes. Actually, that's a pretty high percentage.
Incredibly high percentage, and really London as a team's been shooting quite well. They've been in between 60 and 56% pretty well the whole game, but guys like Boyd have just been that next level. And Junior Cadogan, a guy who hasn't done a lot of scoring, able to drill that three.
Wide open three, nobody coming out, put a hand in his face. Wide open look, he drills it. Here's Quinnell Brown again, along with Ward, also a good shooter. Prosper is in for the big for Windsor. Good save at the side there by Jones. Gives it to Prosper inside with Boyd on him. Big size advantage here. Prosper gets bumped by Julian Boyd. I don't know if they're going to call that on the shot or on the spin around dribble. They're going to give him 2 on that.
And now between White going out and Boyd picking up his 4th foul there, that London front court that had dominated that entire first half and a little bit of this quarter, now both of them have to come out of the game. This is a big opportunity for the Windsor Express to try and gain some ground back here.
So Singleton in for Boyd. You're right, the 2 bigs who dominated the game are one's out of the game, one's on the bench. For Windsor to take advantage of it, this is the time to do it. It's Criswell with the ball up, bringing it to Cadogan. The pace has really slowed down so far from what we've seen in the first half. Kyle Johnson had a great game against Niagara the other night, his first game as the London Lightning. Pulls up for the jumper. Able to make it. Gets brushed by Quinnell Brown on the follow-through.
Well, Kyle Johnson had 21 points in his debut last night. London's had a pretty good lineup. They haven't really needed to bring Johnson in as much, but he is a gifted scorer. He's a great shooter. He did it with the Brampton A's and caused the London Lightning a lot of havoc when he was a member of that team. So he's a guy who can heat up in a hurry, and with guys like White and Boyd out, they're going to need someone like Johnson to step up.
Again, keep going to the far left side of the court with Jones to start up everything off. This is Windsor with the ball inside. That's Patterson. Jontez Patterson unable to convert. Gets his own rebound though. Spins in the lane. Nice left-handed shot. Unable to convert. And Friesen looking to push it. Gets from behind by Prosper. Prosper's got his arms in there. You're not taking it away from Lester Prosper once he's got his hands on it. It's going to be a possession ball. I think it's going to be to London based on the indication for the referee. London looking to push, but Windsor were able to slow him down.
Yeah, Windsor just brought that full court press there, and it's something we hadn't seen all game, and giving them fits. I think Patterson a little angry that he picked up that foul as he hits the bench over on the Windsor sideline there.
Dugan up top, looking for a screen from Singleton. Moving screen, I would say. I wonder if that will be called. It is. The little guy, Jones, Maurice, was getting rolled over by that screen by Singleton. Turnover by London. How tall do you think Maurice Jones is?
He's listed at 5'7", but that might be with shoes on.
Violation by Prosper that time, Lester Prosper, on the dish from aforementioned Jones. So nobody really getting a string of anything getting to go there. Very, very jittery start so far for both sides in this half. 77-49 is the score. 7:43 left in the third quarter. Drive to the hoop. Nice strip by Ward off of Johnson's knee, Kyle Johnson's knee on that dribble penetration. Windsor ball. Here we go again. Up the left side of the floor, Maurice Jones. Looks like they're trying to keep the big guy Prosper on the right side of the court, trying to open up that left side for Cannell Brown, thinking he's got a mismatch. Double team quickly. Swings it around to Ward. Ward with a dribble, crossover dribble, unable to convert. Tipped by Prosper. Picked up by Johnson. Bringing the ball quickly. Pulls it back out.
Oh, risky.
Risky passes right. Junior Cadogan going hard to the hoop. Takes the contact. Ends up out of bounds and makes the basket.
Well, Junior Cadogan, a big-time point guard at Marquette. As we see the little guy, Jones. He's going to go for two. We got a point guard battle.
Wow. How did he put that one in? Kyle Johnson with the ball up top. Primary ball handler right now for London. Finds his way to the foul line, trying to find somebody open. Flashing fadeaway jump shot for number 22, Anthony Criswell. That's our first look at his turnaround fadeaway jumper. Everybody contributing so far for London, keeping them in the game without their two key players in. Fighting hard for the rebound. Again, is Criswell. He keeps it in bounds as he falls out. Gives it to Kyle Johnson. That should definitely be a foul on Cannell Brown. A great Euro step that time. Slow motion Euro step. That's my new Ginobili move. I always got to get at least one San Antonio Spur reference in per game.
Well, I mean, that move by Kyle Johnson there, just to grab Quinnell Brown and force that foul, was very, very pretty. Of course, the Euro step is something he's got to be familiar with. He was playing in the Italian League earlier this year before, of course, joining the London Lightning. And it's kind of interesting. London has actually 5 Canadians on their roster now that they've added Johnson.
So Johnson at the line, missed his first one. We're still at inside his Gostelig. Pushes the ball up, gets the ball right back, three-point line, takes the shot. He hasn't been on the court much this game, but not afraid to take that first shot. Again, here comes a speed merchant, and a nice dish off to Warren Ward, who was looking for it. Got hammered by London again. That's already, I think, 6 or 7 team fouls already for London Lightning. We're only 6 minutes in to the third quarter.
To the line for the Express,
Warren Ward at the line. So for even all that action, but Windsor, you feel like Windsor's playing a little better, but it's still a 30-point game.
Yeah, well, I think Windsor had an opportunity here with that little bit of chaos and having Boyd and, as we see some guys get a little antsy for the rebound there, but having Boyd and White out of the game's given them an opportunity to go inside, and they just don't seem to want to do it.
Well, other than their point guard, Jones getting in there, that's the only one. This Joel Friesen up top, he's driving to the line. A big slap there. It looks like an all ball according to the ref. That's Kyle Johnson unable to convert. Ellison with the ball to the speed merchant. Going to the hoop, reverse off the backboard. Wow. Getting hammered by the London defender by Gottseg that time. He still makes it. Maurice Jones.
For a little water bug, he was able to, he had that nice little flick of the wrist there to get that one to go. Great play there.
He got bodied as well, but kept his form. So far, really the only bright light for the Windsor Express has been their play of their point guard, Maurice Jones.
You know, I'm a little surprised they haven't been going to Warren Ward as much. He's been pretty well the best scorer for the Windsor Express and one of the few guys to get any sort of rhythm going. And I don't know what's going on with the Windsor Express. Their ball movement is just not where it needs to be. And you're seeing a lot of guys play some hero basketball where they get the ball and then they just try to do it on their own. and that's just not going to work, and it hasn't worked all game. So we'll see what happens coming out of this timeout, but things not looking great for the Windsor Express.
Well, like we said, it is early in the season, and a brand new team for Windsor in terms of player personnel, so there is a lot of adjustment to be made yet. Third game of the season for both teams. And right now, London looks like they're working a little better together as a team and in their roles. And nobody's really got on fire for shooting either for the Windsor Express. They need somebody to get hot. Perhaps Warren Ward or Maurice Jones will do that for him.
Warren Ward's a guy who pretty much any time he's on the floor is a threat. Even if he's having a game that's not his strongest, he's still able to put it together and go on a run that can get him 15 to 20 points in like maybe 10 minutes. So, I mean, Warren Ward, a guy to keep an eye on. Windsor's going to need someone like that to step up and basically drag them back into this game.
All right, so we have Frederick Evans in for London, along with Marvin Singleton and Troy Gottseglig, as well as Ryan Anderson still in the ball game. And Kyle Johnson is their fifth. For Windsor, we got Maurice Jones up top. Looks like a holding foul on the cut coming around the corner on Anderson. We got Jones and Ward. It's Warren Ward and Maurice Jones, along with Lester Prosper on the floor, along with Gernard Giroux. Good rebound by Marvin Singleton that time, off the miss by Anderson.
It's a little weird that no one checked him down there. Singleton just easy rebound, no one really around him.
This time he takes a shot, unable to convert. Prosper crashing the board, but unable to convert. And the smallest guy leaps up high on the floor to block that pass. Jumps it back out to Ellison. Ellison gives him a three.
And those are the type of plays they need. But Maurice Jones has been really the spark plug in this third quarter. You wonder why we didn't see as much of him in that first half. Because now he's starting to get some things going for the Windsor Express.
Nice little dish for Singleton. Knocks it back out to Johnson. Pulls up for the jump shot. Unable to convert that time. Gets knocked to the floor. Ellison running with the ball. This is Ward with it, taking it to the hoop, dishes it off to Prosper. Huge pump foul there by Troy Gottseglig. He knew he had no chance of stopping Prosper for that dunk.
Well, Gottseglig just making sure he doesn't give up an easy basket there.
That's exactly what he did. Yep.
And smart play by the Canadian.
He did not want Prosper to hammer that one down and give a spark to Windsor. So Jones off the floor, getting a well-deserved break. 83-59 with 4.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Prosper at the line, Lester Prosper that is, makes his first one. So Kearney taking the place of Jones. Brandon Kearney. Prosper makes his second one as well. Full court press, you're right. Quick over the top. Here comes Junior Cadogan, taking it all the way to the hoop and hammered by Clinton Springer Williams.
Well, just like Gottseglig did down on the other end, you just got to make it difficult. No easy baskets. And now Cadogan's going to go to the line. He's had a pretty good second half, recording if he makes any of these, really. He could be having 7 points and 4 assists, depending on if he makes this one.
So the game really slowed down from the first half. A lot of fouls, a lot of foul shots. Sort of a battle of strategies here between the two coaches and the two teams. So Springer Williams up top. This is Jarno. Fall-away jumper, unable to pull it. Pushes the ball up quickly. Was Cadogan. Gets double-teamed right away, does Anderson. Cadogan up top again. Nice screen by Singleton. Throws it all the way across court to Kyle Johnson. Unable to convert that time. And London getting back on defense. Jarno with the ball up top to Kearney. Kearney guarded by Johnson. Nice hands. Ball gets thrown ahead to Ryan Anderson. He's looking to see if anybody else is there. He does. Great play all the way around, except the ball doesn't go down for Troy Gottseglig. Victor Springer Williams going hard to the hoop, trying to draw the foul, and he does. He compounds his miss with a foul, does Troy Gottseglig.
Bit of chaos there. And
great passing sequence there, just unable to convert.
Well, it's the second time that they had a great pass. We saw the Cadogan one cross-court to Johnson. That was just right on the money. And then, of course, a little passing play that ends in Gottslig unable to convert. A little unfortunate there for the Lightning.
Windsor converting at the line. And again, good-sized crowd again here on a Sunday afternoon. Looks like it's sort of filled in the bottom bowl. The upper bowl's got quite a few as well. What do you think for numbers today, Chris?
Totally estimating. I'd look around 3,000.
That's what I thought, somewhere around that. Dugan with the ball. Little pull-up jumper, unable to convert. Ellison hustling for the ball. That's going to be an over or back, as we can see. He was over the line. Great defense by Singleton that time to pin him just in that triangle of death, we call it. Right over the half, right at the side. You pick up your dribble. That's the triangle of death.
Well, Singleton doing a great job there. This is a guy who, I don't necessarily think when everyone was coming into camp that Singleton was one of the guys who was going to make the team, but he really battled for one of those roster spots, and he really impressed in camp, making smart cuts like that. He really impressed in camp and really battled his way onto this team, and I know he impressed Coach Julius a lot. He's impressed a lot of people here in London.
That was a great screen and roll play between Cadogan that time. Ellison up into the corner with Journeau. He's taking the ball down hoop. He got a smaller man on him, just puts it right over top of the aforementioned Singleton. Singleton's got bulk, but not necessarily enough height to cover Journeau. So up top to Ryan Anderson again, looking for the early screen from Gottslig. Holding foul on Kearney with a little dribble hesitation there by Ryan Anderson. Froze the defender. Defender holds on to him. He'll be going to the line as well. Yeah, it's a different flavor in the game with the two bigs out for London now, with White and Boyd not on the floor for the last 7 or 8 minutes. The whole game has taken on a different complexion.
It's a little unfortunate. Windsor's actually played a pretty great third quarter. They're outscoring London 27-23, but unfortunately, that first half just, the gains are minimal at best, and it's going to be difficult with 2 minutes left in the third quarter for Windsor to get back into this one.
Crosser with the ball, looking underneath. Gives it to Kearney, pulls up. Crossover dribble with Anderson on him. Anderson reaching in. Gosling does a quick switch over to Prosper. He's got it down low. Going to the hoop. Off the backboard. That looks like his favorite shot. With his left hand. Singleton setting screens all over the floor for Cadogan. Cadogan looking for his man. Good swing. Back out again. Does he shoot? Singleton? No, he's going to take it to the hoop. And he dribbles it with Journeau knocking out of bounds. London ball yet with 12 seconds on the shot clock. Well, it definitely gives other London players an opportunity to step up in the absence of those two players. Here's fadeaway from the corner, and he gets a hit. I'm not sure if he landed awkwardly on his foot. We're talking Ryan Anderson there, got hit by the defender. I think he's okay. Just landed awkwardly, I believe, on his side.
One of the things, as you were mentioning earlier, a lot of London players getting some court time. A guy like Singleton, we haven't really seen a ton of him this season at all, but due to the situation with, of course, Boyd and White, and the fact that London's got a pretty nice lead here, Singleton's a guy who's really getting to show what he can do a little more than we've really seen. And again, this guy played at Northern Iowa. That's a really good basketball school. Anyone who watches the NCAA tournament, the March Madness, of course, recognizes Northern Iowa, because I'd say about every 3 years they beat one of the big teams.
Exactly, one of the upsets of the tournament. March Madness is right. I have never won that pool. Ever. This is Kearney with the ball up top. Anderson getting lots of playing time tonight. This is Johnson up top with Ellison. This is Clinton Springer-Williams with Cadogan on him. Both goes right over top, unable to convert. Ellison crashes the board, but cannot keep a hold of it. This is Johnson looking for the foul from Kearney, but pulls it back up. And Marvin Singleton jumps it in the corner. Nice little look pass in the corner, and that time Ryan Anderson had his feet set and buries that three.
There's Marvin Singleton again. He's having a great quarter here for the London Lightning.
Kearney with a long three up top, unable to convert. Troy Gosling has the rebound, gives it up to Kyle Johnson bringing the ball up to the corner with Anderson, who's the hot shooter at the moment. Got the ball, dribble hesitation, nice. Give and go with Troy Gosselin. He absorbs the punishment underneath from Giro, unable to convert, but going to the foul line.
Not that it's a huge concern right now, but there are some foul situations going on with Windsor. Cornell Brown sitting at 5 fouls. Nick Evans, of course, ejected from the game. Lester Prosper with 3 and Warren Ward with 3, and Brandon Kearney with 4 for London. You got Royce White, who's been ejected. Julian Boyd at 4. Otherwise, not a whole ton. Troy Gottslig with 3 is only the 3rd most fouls on the Lightning. Rather impressive when you consider the team fouls have been even.
Well, so far I've been very impressed with London's defense in this game. 66 points going through nearly 3 quarters here, which is a big turnover or change from the Niagara games. Both times Niagara scored over 100 points, 107 points. A little battle underneath with Giraud. I believe. So Singleton, he's in the middle of everything right now, Singleton. Be it a passing, a basket, a dunk, or the fouls. He's making himself well-known. So Gennard Giraud got the foul line. 37 seconds left in this 3rd quarter. Still a 31-point game. Wow.
Short by a bit.
Short by a bit that time. Misses both of them that time. Unable to convert. Junior Cadogan bringing the ball up. Kearney on him. Looking for his teammates. Taking the long 3 that time. Got his legs underneath him. Singleton nearly got that rebound underneath. Had snuck in for position. This is Springer Williams here with the ball with Troy Gottslig. A bit of a mismatch there. Looking for the mismatch underneath for Journeau, but they could not pick him up. That's Kearney. He's going to pull up the 3. We can see that from here. Unable to convert. And that's Allison going skying up. Unable to convert. Calling for the foul, but never got it. This is Ryan Anderson with 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Going to pull it back out to Singleton. He's got 3 seconds left. Needs to put it up. Will he make it? He got the backboard, unable to convert. Allison still appealing to the referee for skying for that rebound, trying to get it off the backboard. It looked like he got undercut. But so after all that hectic, frantic, physical 3rd quarter between the Lightning and Express, it's still a 31-point game.
Yeah, the Windsor Express actually played a good first half to the quarter. I mentioned that they were outscoring London in the 3rd quarter, but London changed that with that back half, making it a 33-29. London outscored them. London has not put less than 30 points per quarter up on the board, which is just a ridiculous stat. That's a team clicking on all cylinders. And, of course, London shooting 52%. But that's not the most impressive number. The most impressive one is from three-point land. The team is shooting 43%. That's a huge number. Windsor shooting 36% from the field by comparison. And again, we're seeing the ball movement from London causing havoc. 23-8 in the assists. And again, Windsor turning the ball over too much, 19-9 on the turnovers. And really, I'm a little surprised. We had White and Boyd go out. The points in the paint, London was always leading, and they still are 38-12. But I would have thought when White and Boyd went out that Windsor would make that number a little higher than 12. I mean, we saw on this last play before the half that Windsor had, their last offensive possession, you had Giroux with a big mismatch against Ryan Anderson. He had battled for position, and the ball never came. So I'm not sure what Windsor's worried about, but they don't seem to want to send it inside, even when they get those mismatches.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, a bit of a chippy game overall. I'm trying to add up how many total foul shots there have been in this game. Looks like about 70 or so already, I believe. So a lot of free throw
60
trips.
exactly,
60,
actually. 60
sorry,
exactly.
70, sorry. So 60 foul shots already. And here we are going in the 4th quarter. Defensively, London has really put the screws and the clamps on, other than the jitterbug Maurice Jones, who had played well in that 3rd quarter and is back to start the 4th quarter after a rest. Last couple minutes of that 3rd. Windsor with the ball up top. This is Kearney. They got both their points guard out, and that's a reach-in foul by Frederick Edmond. Got beat off the dribble, and no teammate was able to come over and help. So that's the first team foul of the 4th quarter. So Patterson's back in the game. Shantaz Patterson as well. Jones in the game. A little spin around on turnaround on Junior Cadogan, and it bounces and rolls around the rim for him. In it goes.
Again, I'm surprised by how little we've seen of Jones in this game. He's been creating every time he's been on the court. This is a guy who's averaging 8.5 assists coming into this game. So you know he's a guy who's going to get the ball moving and get people involved.
Al Johnson up top. Three-point shot from Singleton. Gosling working hard, tips it back out to Edmonds. Singleton back up top, nobody in the corner. Pump fake by Johnson. I think he had nowhere else to go anyway. But pump fake, looked for his teammate, went up, and the defender got bit on the pump fake, gets the foul.
Yeah, if you're Giroux, you got to recognize that situation. Johnson had no option. He had to take the shot. And you know he's going to try and draw that foul too. You've got a height advantage. Just put your arm up. You don't need to leave your feet for that.
Exactly. And he makes both free throws. 99 points the London Lightning are sitting at. And we're just starting the fourth quarter. Allison turned the corner well. Driving hard to the hoop. Keeping up with his left hand. Nice little hook shot right over top of Evans. Singleton gives it back to Evans to bring the ball up, but that was a bully ball there for Ellison. Put her right over top physically. I like what I see from Kyle Johnson. He's very versatile. He's a good ball handler. We know he can shoot. Dribble penetration that time. Turn the corner on two players. So first really good look at him this game. He's got the most difficult defensive assignment as well, trying to guard Maurice Jones with the ball. So in the corner, nice little pass over to Giroux that time.
Finally,
defenders turn their head.
Well, finally a bit of an inside presence from the Windsor Express. As we see Singleton right back down the floor, able to get some points himself.
And the Windsor players not following their man down the floor for an easy basket for Gosling. Journeau got a size advantage here, but good defense holding the position that time was Troy. Great dribble here by Jones. Spins around. I don't know how he dished that back out to Patterson, but he did. And that's Kearney with the rebound. Ellison with the rebound. So far, outworking the London Lightning underneath the boards, and they get the ball back. Ellison with a long three-point shot. That is Jones with the rebound. My goodness. Out jumping the London defender. Well, I don't know how many offensive boards were in that sequence, but up to this point, London was dominating the boards, except for that sequence of play. So 3 subs coming in for London Lightning. And we see Julian Boyd back in, along with Criswell and Garrett Williamson, the staying influence, the veteran. And that was a putback by Patterson, Shantaz Patterson. Junior Cadogan with the ball, taken to the hoop, and he gets hit, I think, before he started his drive, but he got hit definitely on the drive, a hard foul there. Looks like they're going to give him the 2 shots. So far he's had his will getting to the basket for the most part, Junior Cadogan. Nobody's really been able to stop him.
Yeah, and he's actually had a very nice second half here. Cadogan's one of those guys, he doesn't need to score. He's often looking for teammates. He's often just trying to run the offense efficiently. But he can score, and he's one of those guys when White and Boyd both had to sit out. Cadogan was one of the guys who started to put up some points of his own, and that gives him 9 points and 6 assists, and the majority of that production coming in the third and fourth quarter.
So he really picked up the slack when the 2 bigs had to go out. It's Patterson again with the jump shot, unable to convert. And again, another rebound. Ellison draws the foul. Nice little pump fake. That was a big board by Giroux that time, dumping the ball underneath Ellison. So the Lightning call a timeout because they see some things they don't like starting the fourth quarter. A little bit more fight out of Windsor in this fourth quarter to start it, see if they can sustain it. They still are down by, well, that's 24 plus 4, 28 points yet.
Well, you got a guy there who, in Julian Boyd, who's been sitting for pretty well the entire second half. And he's come into this game again and looked just a little bit cold on defense there as the Express able to go inside, because that's where they like to attack a guy like Boyd.
Well, we'll see if London will feature Julian Boyd again in the offense. He was a recipient of a lot of great passes, got a lot of open looks, and converted the majority of them during the game.
Well, of course, he's got 26 points. Again, most of this is without him playing for the third quarter, but Julian Boyd has 26 points on 9 of 11 shooting, 4 for 5 from three-point land. So Julian Boyd, a guy who's really been feeling it.
So I believe Allison is going to the line to convert the old-fashioned three. Able to absorb the contact, put it off the backboard with his left hand, and going to the foul line. So Wally Allison makes his foul shot. Ball up top with Junior Cadogan swinging the ball around quickly to Edmonds. Looking inside for Williamson, unable to find him. Cadogan looking for the early screen from Julian Boyd. Again going to the hoop with the crossover, but that time Jones with a hustle back steals the ball from Junior Cadogan. Gives it to Kearney. Looked like a travel there to me. That's Ellison again, feeling it, unable to make the three. Julian Boyd with the rebound to Cadogan. Edmonds up top, slowing the play down. Boyd swings it over to Williamson. We haven't heard much of Williams in the second half. We haven't had to. That looked like a lob pass that got deflected. And Julian Boyd's complaining that he was held. He couldn't get up for that lob pass from Williamson. Kearney trying to do the fadeaway. He absorbs the contact from Williamson. Williamson played great defense on there, but he put it in.
London might want to wake up here. That's probably the first sustained momentum that Windsor's been getting on offense. And you really, like, with 8 minutes left, there's time for them to catch up. You don't want to give them an inch here.
Cadogan able to convert from the three-point. So far they have not gone inside. And he's driving the hoop again is Jones, and Allison becoming a spark plug these last few minutes. Some key rebounds, putbacks, foul shots, and now that key putback on that rebound missed by Jones. So far unanswered points here by London until that time. Unexpected source, Anthony Criswell buries a three. We did not see that one coming. Stops the flow of points by Windsor, and a turnover here by Garrett Williamson. He deflects the ball. 2 London players dying on the floor, and it comes loose to Giroux of all things. London had their hands on it 3 or 4 times and could not hang on to it, not for lack of hustle though.
Well, that's exactly how you try out the Windsor Express. Just get some guys diving on the floor and you're able to get the ball there.
Criswell again steps up this time. Gets to his comfort zone, obviously. Didn't settle for the three. That's 2 baskets in a row for him, stemming the flow from the Windsor Express. That time kept his position. I thought a late call on the foul, I think on Julian Boyd. It looked like he had stayed with Jones and deflected that ball out of bounds.
That's going to be his 5th foul, so Julian Boyd again has to sit on the bench. I don't think London's too concerned with that right now. But, or are they leaving him in? No, he's going out. Okay.
Well, it looked like they're leaving him in there. I think he's just going to the bench to do some complaining. One too many players for London on the floor there, I believe.
Yeah, I think Boyd's supposed to be going to the bench here, and he just
like
is taking his sweet time.
Cadogan stepped off to the side right now. They're getting their stuff straight here now. I don't think Windsor sees Julian Boyd till Kearney sees him now. Boyd is staying on, playing with 5, just like you said. Ellison getting a quick break. Thought he was a good spark plug there that first part of that fourth quarter. Working hard to get the rebounds, making some key shots. So Anderson back in the game. He's played a lot this game. He's been a steady influence. So between him and Williamson, like you said, good synergy there. Boyd being the star scorer of the show. Looks like the ball went off the bottom of the backboard after he tried to do a dribble penetration into the lane. And now he's coming off the floor. Troy Gottslig back in.
Yeah, one of the things with both these teams, of course, Windsor wishing they had a better night to accomplish this on, is we see Jones. Excellent attempt there, and it's going to be a blocking foul on Troy Gottslig. But
it's a very, very late call. I don't disagree with the call, but it's a very late call. Gottslig trying to draw a charge on Jones. Was pretty sure he was in the restricted area, but That was well after the play, after the ball had already rolled off the rim, and Jones had already turned the corner coming back on defense before the ref called it.
But again, looking at both these teams, every single player who's touched the floor has points in this game, and that speaks to what both coaches like to do. They like to run just about every player they have on their roster and get everyone some playing time. Now, part of that is because the score differential's been so large that they've had an excuse to play everyone, but it's still nice to know that you have that depth and they're getting to test out some pieces that they maybe haven't really had much of an opportunity to see in game action.
Williamson, great turn on the foul line there, driving to the hoop, but unable to convert with his left hand. Journeau gives it up just quick enough into the corner. That was to Clinton Williams-Springer. Again, an offensive board for Windsor Express. That's been a theme here in the fourth quarter, getting them back into this game. We're down to 20 points. They've cut 10 points off of that lead so far. 5:43 left in the game. Is there enough time for Windsor to mount enough of a charge to come back and close the gap all the way? It's Williamson turning the ball in. That looked like a nice block by Bougereau, but I think he got Williamson on the hand, who turned the corner and went strong to the hoop like he usually does.
To the line for Lightning, Garrett Williamson. 2 shots.
Garrett Williamson makes the first. Unable to make the second. And here comes Jones, the speed merchant again. The ball, Anderson trying to keep him in front and unable to convert that short jump shot was Jones, but he had Ryan on his heels. Williamson organizing play again, the steadying influence that we know. Looks like a lot of holding foul there on Johnson. Kyle fighting hard to get open. Here's Anderson sprinting to the corner. He knew that was his shot, and he buries it. He had one thing in mind, get to that spot first, catch and shoot, and he does. Kearney taking it to the hoop. Gosling again trying to draw the charge, throws him enough off. Here comes Williamson with the rebound. Crossover step and is held by Clinton Springer Williams. Going to the line again is Williamson. He always does all the little things right, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's one of those guys who contributes both on and off the stat sheet. Of course, he's got 12 points, the majority of that coming early in the game when London was mounting that gigantic lead that they put up to start. And so all he's had to do since then is play a little bit of point forward. He's usually been the guy to bring the ball up the court and get the offense set. And he was a key contributor as well when Windsor tried to go with their big lineups at the start of the game. The difference really was the fact that when Windsor went big, their point guard wasn't great at handling the ball, so they kind of had turnovers. Williamson didn't have any of those problems in playing that big point guard role.
Yes, between him and Ryan Anderson, they're great options to bring the ball up with Junior Cadogan's in any kind of trouble or off the floor. So Campbell back on the floor, Alex Campbell, along with Shantez Patterson. Going hard to the hoop and takes it high off the backboard, absorbs the contact again as well. Both teams really allowing their opponents to get to the hoop almost at will in this last bit of this game. Anderson looking for the quick pass. Troy Goslinger was not quite turned around ready to have that pass put in his hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's Todd. Todd is the Northern fan of the game, picking up a t-shirt and 2 game tickets. Thanks so much for being our fan. That's all courtesy of Northern.
So Anderson has been one of the primary defenders on the ball handlers this game as well. He's up guarding Campbell. Looks like a illegal screen set by Patterson, trying to free up Springer Williams. 114-91, 4 minutes and 17 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter between this New Year's Day matchup between two old rivals of the 401, the Windsor Express and the London Lightning. We'll see lots of each other this year, we know. Already one dust up early in the third quarter, which is unfortunate. 3-point attempt by Kyle Johnson. Shooting that with confidence, an assist from Ryan Anderson. Everybody came over to put a hand in Ryan Anderson's face, and he just gives it up. And Johnson, his teammate, puts it in for him. Over the top, Gosling trying to overplay. Journeau. Journeau is tall. Has a size advantage. No foul called. The inbounds there on Williams' rebound. And then a reach-in foul that time on Johnson. Looks like he got slapped in the face a little bit there.
Yeah, I think Springer Williams had really no intention of getting the ball. Was just trying to taking a bit of a frustration foul, I would say.
So here's Anderson. Like we said, when Cadogan's off the floor, it's either Anderson or Williamson that are bringing the ball up. They have good size for any kind of primary point guards. Take advantage. Nice little penetration dribble that time by Criswell. Showing his crossover. There's Journeau going hard to the hoop. Early foul. Continuation, they called it. Wow. I did not think he had started yet.
Very friendly call from the referee there.
Well, he gets the basket. Journeau, or Giraud, Gernard Giraud, making himself felt in this fourth quarter. So after that sort of a mini storm there by the Windsor Express, London Lightning have sort of steadied their scoring again and extended their lead back up to 26 points. This is Williamson, and great ball handler. Ryan Anderson just waiting patiently in what looks like his favorite spot on the side there. Buries another three. Allison. Wally Ellison. I keep on calling Wally Zerbiak, but he got that same kind of form. And Williamson driving to the hoop and fouled by Shantez Patterson that time.
It's not often you get to drop a Wally Zerbiak reference.
I know, isn't that awesome?
Wow.
Yeah. I got a lot of those. I just got to, I'm just getting in the groove here a bit, doing these comparisons here. I got my Spurs thing in there. That's good. So Singleton coming back in the game. Anderson, well-played game, gets a round of applause. Definitely looks like he's a glue guy this year is what I would call him, along with Williamson. Those two really seem to be steadying the London offense and flow of play. Haven't seen much of Friesen in the second half, though.
I think a little bit of that is, one, they haven't really needed him as much. We haven't seen much of Warren Ward either.
True.
And two, Friesen's done his job. So I think coach is okay letting him rest there and taking some time off. And also with the way we saw it getting heated, Friesen and Ward were kind of getting into it a bit too, so it kind of keeps everyone's heads cool too.
Well, if I'm looking at the schedule correctly, I think Windsor's playing 4 games in 5 nights as well, so maybe that's one of the reasons we're not seeing Ward anymore tonight in this 25-point game. Quinnell Brown hasn't been on hardly his fourth quarter. I know he's been foul trouble, but it appears that they're sort of resting him for tomorrow night's game. This is Kyle Johnson again. Pull-up jumper, unable to convert. Campbell with the ball up top. Yeah, we don't see Jones on the floor anymore either as well. Nice alley-oop, but unable to convert was Giroux that time. Does get his own rebound, pushes it back out to Campbell. Campbell driving down the hoop. Free lane to the hoop, off the backboard with his left hand. Well, there certainly are a lot of players capable in both teams of putting the ball on the floor and driving down the lane. Both teams need to get working on their dribble penetration defense. Cadogan again, as we said, mostly at will getting down the lane whenever he wants to. You were right, he does think pass first, set up a basket first rather than scoring on his own, but he certainly looks like he had his will today.
Well, Cadogan scoring those points makes it 7 players in double digits for the London Lightning, as we see Ellenson with another 3. But both teams actually have quite a few players with double-digit scoring in this game. You've got 5 players on the Windsor Express doing the same thing, but the big news with London, they had 9 players in their last game, that game against Niagara, scoring double digits. So again, London getting huge contributions from their entire bench, and this score by the end of it might look awfully similar to that Niagara game.
Well, I would say 33 points. What was that in the first half for Windsor?
37 total, or pardon me, 34, or 1 second, I'm losing my mind, but 37 first half points total for the Windsor Express.
So Windsor's offense did come a bit more alive in the second half. London stayed hot the whole game with multiple contributors. But here's Junior Cadogan again looking for the man up top. Here's Troy Gosseleg taking a three-pointer, unable to convert. And that's our first look at Noel Moffat on the floor. 54 seconds left, 126-104. So if I'm London, I'm thinking my defense was really good in the second half. Not so great in the first half, though it was a bit of a battle, and Windsor did put up a good fight. But again, over 100 points given up by the London defense for the third game in a row.
Well, what London did was when they went with their as I like to call it, the death lineup. They had their 5 best guys out on the floor, and those are really the guys that took this game for the London Lightning. And they did a great job of shutting everything down. To show you how rough a night it's been for Windsor, they've got more points this fourth quarter than they had in that entire first half. And anytime that happens, you're going to have troubles trying to win a game.
Strong move by Marvin Singleton. I like the name Marvin. Marvin reminds me of Marvin Phillips. You remember him? A little taller, but same kind of idea. Same bulky play, physical, can shoot the three, or at least he shot 1 3 and he made it today. But driving to the hoop, taking the contact.
I actually kind of liken Singleton's game a lot to Royce White because he's able to handle the ball a lot better than you would think a guy of his size is capable of doing. And as we've seen him just drive to the rim a couple of times here and make some really nice passes out of the paint.
Ellison up top to Campbell, over top to Journeau, who's got the height advantage on Gosseleg. Unable to convert that time, looked like he got pushed in the back. Giroux had a nice overall second half, I would say. Giroux, I think he's finally found his spot where what London was given or not given for offense.
Just had a nice game here, 12 points, 8 rebounds with a chance to add 2 more here. So a good game so far for the Tulane grad.
I was just looking that up. New Orleans, his hometown. Well, 14 seconds left in the game, 129-104. Giroux on the foul line, makes his first. And his second. So Windsor's got another game tomorrow night, I believe. So like I said, 4 games in 5 nights. We'll wear them down. The final score will be 129-105. Lightning win their second game of the year, go to 2-1. Windsor Express lose their second game, go to 1-2. Great round of applause on behalf of John Mulholland and Chris Croucher. Appreciate you listening to our broadcast. And we'll send it up to Aaron Sanders and Justin Prince for the post-game comments.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. A happy new year to you. 129-105, the Lightning take it over, and they took it over really well. Welcome once again courtside to the Knockstrom postgame. Aaron Sanders with Justin Prince, and the second half was pretty much the same as the first. We had 2 key ejections, Royce White and Nick Evans. Let's quickly talk about that.
That seemed to change the momentum that Windsor was trying to build and just seemed to burn it out. Both of those players, Royce White, big key player for London, and then you have Nick Evans, big key player for Windsor. It was just an ugly night for the Express overall, though, and that was just like the icing on the cake, was that situation with the 2 injections there.
It was an ugly night for Nick Evans, too. First game, he didn't get a double-double, ended up with 2 points and only 1 assist. When they both got ejected, that really brought down Windsor's chances of coming back. They tried destroying London in the interior, but they were unable to do that. But most of the work came from Wally Ellison, who really caught fire really late when the chips were down.
Yes, sir. 22 points coming off the bench tonight. So he had a great game in what was a lot of it was mop-up time, yes, but he also was shooting the ball well out there. 8 of 11 shooting, 5 of 7 from deep. Great there from Wally Ellison there tonight here in London. this has by far been his best performance so far this season for him coming out the bench here.
And another end, a good shooting display by the Lightning, too, shooting 54% from the field. Most of that came from Julian Boyd, who finished off with 26 points.
Yes, sir. Julian Boyd has continued to shoot well. The points went down a little bit compared to that first half, but overall, everyone else seemed to just keep on building offensively with him out of the, basically with him cooling off a little bit for the second half. You had Kyle Johnson, 10 points. You had Junior Cadogan, 10 points. 13, Anthony Criswell off the bench. Overall, if you look at the bench scoring, yes, most of it, though, you look at it, 39 from London, 58 for Windsor off the bench. So what do you do from here if you're Windsor at this point?
If you're Windsor, it's cliche to say go back to the drawing board. It is day one of 365 of 2017. But you got to remember, this is only one loss, but this is where this loss plays a very potential part. It also plays in the tiebreaker, too, because London Lightning, they scored 129 tonight. That is a factor in the points for section for the tiebreaker. So remember, if both teams come up with an equal record, they will either go by how many wins they won in the series or the points for versus the points against. So for Windsor, they really have to bounce back, but it proves that London has scored at least 110 points per game this season.
Yes, they have just been on fire, not just from the points per game aspect, but the margin aspect too. You look at the margin coming in, they were 13.5 winning margin compared to their games so far coming in. That is the league. That was the league lead, and that's going to go up for sure. With that tiebreaker, if these two teams are tied together with this record, this could be one of those games that make a little bit of a difference on who moves on if it gets to that point.
I know for sure Alex Campbell made a difference tonight. He had more minutes on the floor. He finished off with 7 points, but those 7 points are the first of his NBLC career, as we mentioned, and it might prove that he might be a great six-man or great in the backcourt for the second string. We'll just have to wait and see in the next couple of days.
We'll have to see, that's for sure. I know when I spoke with him before the season at the time, or when he was selected in, I believe it was the All-Canadian draft for the NBLC and signed with the Windsor Express, it was basically a dream for him to play professionally, and the Windsor Express gave him that dream. And when you want to follow your dream, you don't want to blow your chances. So he's going to be trying to keep his spot, fighting hard to play well, and especially trying to earn his spot, like you said, trying to become like a six-man or a good second-string point guard off the bench.
That's right. He wants to please the Windsor faithful. He did play for the Lancers, and for him just to stay for Windsor, as you said, is a dream come true. But now he's got to impress the Windsor faithful. I believe he's going to get more minutes time. Incidentally, I think during the third quarter, we've seen somebody from Fanshawe College participate in the contest. So weird connections, yes, but it proves that when you play against, people that around the local area, you just put up more, like the woman from Fanshawe College. But Alex Campbell, he did really well. Well, there it is. Flipped over then and there. But there's one more game coming up. It won't be until about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Cape Breton Highlanders when they travel to the Eastlink Center to play against the Island Storm, who came out with a miracle, no pun intended, 103-100 last night against the Moncton Miracles to cap off their year of 2016.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that matchup lines up. 2-2, of course, the Storm coming into that one. And, of course, you have Cape Breton coming in looking for that first win. Personally, I feel like if they can play well and basically capitalize on their chances tonight, Cape Breton might be able to squeak away their first win of the season. Who knows?
Well, indeed, because the Island kept it very close within their first few games. Yesterday was another statistic. It's no exception, but the Island Storm, they have great guys like Al Stewart, Dimitri Harris, and Terry Thomas, who put on a double-double display not so long ago. So for Island Storm to go up against Cape Breton, it's a good service for these NBLC faithful who are going to see it in just about a couple of hours' time.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a fun one to watch tonight to wrap up New Year's Day here across Canada here.
We wrap it up here from Bud Gardens, but a quick reminder of how the Windsor Express and the London Lightning schedule will go. Windsor will go to Niagara tomorrow to play the River Lions, and then they'll take a breather for about 7 days. They won't be back in action until they're in Kitchener-Waterloo. They'll be at the Auditorium to play against the Titans for the first time this season, and then 3 days on the 13th, Friday the 13th, they'll complete their home-and-home series with the KW Titans. Speaking of, before this game, both clubs have come off a home-and-home series 1-1 for London against Niagara and Windsor with Orangeville, and we all know how that game went. And for London on the way, 3 days from now, they'll be at the Institute to play the Orangeville A's. That's January 4th. Tip-off time's at 7. And then the day afterwards, they're back here at Bud Gardens to play against the Niagara River Lions once again, where the Bud Garden faithful seen a close game in opening night, but a few days later, they did it justice with a big romping win in Niagara. So we can't wait to see how those two teams will fare out coming back here this Thursday.
Yes, sir. Like that last matchup on the 30th, it was just an absolute blowout like it was tonight. We'll have to see how everything goes once they meet up once again. It should be a fun one to watch, that's for sure, between the two heavy rivals.
And we hope we'll see you, ladies and gentlemen, on Knoxroom.tv this Thursday, right here at Bud Gardens, 6:50 p.m. for the Knoxroom pregame, and then we'll have the game between the River Lions and the Lightning. We'll see you then, but until then, the final score right here, 129-105, the Lightning over the Express, and we hope, once again, you have a great rest of the afternoon and enjoy this Happy New Year of 2017. This has been a presentation of Knoxroom Digital Media, producing the media excellence in Southern Ontario. Until Thursday night, for JP, this be Aaron Sanders saying, so long from the Forest City.